Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Who races to the bench, and he picks up a new stick of his own. Taken away by Gensel. Kucherov scores! And the Pens survive all of that and get it out. Brazo in the zone. Goes wide of Pellet. The slot, a shot, they score! It's 20 goals!
On the other end of the floor, Collier rifles the pass. Bryce wide open, triples, bang.
And Isaiah Collier saw that play way ahead of time.
The last 3+ games, he shoots over 92%. Here comes the
Wow. Driver, the freshman, all will and wide. 24-point UConn lead. Reed kicking Ross. Second three. Bring it up. We talk about Dad. Dad spent 8 years in the Arena Football League. My goodness, Silas Demery. Dunking it home.
Still a 15-point lead, though. Boozer looking for Brown. Kick to the corner. Evans a three. It's good.
This Thompson Bowling Arena, Food City Center. Gillespie. High arc three for a guy that can make 26-20 now. Breaks through that first line of defense right there. They send blue jerseys ambushing the ball really well. Again, Gillespie, a high arcing three that hits the twine.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mayo Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
Good.
Just hanging out?
I was debating. I felt like I should try to shoot over to West Side.
Yeah.
But the timing isn't going to work out.
Didn't quite.
Yeah, for their signing day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So happy signing day to everybody. Every of the bodies of the body that are signing for Old College. That would be my man Kier.
I'll say, yeah. Who do we got signing for us today?
Diesel Klein, Drew, a.k.a. Drew, Owen James, Eli Johnson, Quentin Warren, and Reed McIntyre.
Where's my guy Q going?
Q is going to Northwest Missouri State. He's going to be a cat with a K.
Good spot.
Yeah, some of these guys are such a testament to how hard the recruiting cycle is.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really outstanding players that I think.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes get under-recruited when Owen James, I mean, no disrespect to Q. Or maybe I put Eli in this too, given his skill set, but more on better players I've been around to be under-recruited.
Where's Eli going?
They're four aforementioned are going to be Bearcats.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a good haul for the Bearcats.
Oh, it's a great haul. It's a great haul, but you know, Eli really, really good. But Owen is, you know, can play offense, defense. Just it's weird to say somebody that's 265.
Smidge undersized for what he is.
He looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I was watching him, closet stalker. You know, he's a really strong student, and he is always with the student section and stuff. Like, he'll rock the overalls. I was watching this dude shoot jump shots the other day.
Yeah.
Now, he's a big, strong dude. This dude's jumper was pretty.
Yeah.
No, I mean like textbook. So I was messing with Micah the other day.
This was Owen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Owen B-gap, pin puller, like. And so I was messing with Micah, and I was like, man, I said, you know, I was kind of creeping watching Owen's hoop game. I said, man, that dude can shoot.
Yeah.
He's like that. Their intramural team beat us by 40. And I'm not saying it's like Mike is nice.
Yeah.
Like, clearly should be playing.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, 40. I was like, huh? He could be by 40 in intramurals.
That's pretty aggressive.
Yeah. He took it. He took it like a champ, too.
No, I think there's
it's just you know, I look at Cannon at North. There's just so many players that I think are really, really good that will be productive.
I mean, it's kind of the trickle down of the transfer stuff, right? Like, this is what we talked about. Like, who's going to benefit from sort of the glut of players? And maybe it's Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk to Coach Hale tomorrow. Kearney had a heck of a haul.
They had a great class, yeah.
You know, especially with Siegel in town. You know, who I had at at North, and then went to NDSU and then KSU, and spent some time in purgatory up there at NDSU.
Yeah.
Playing a little, not like he liked. I remember talking to Coach E, when he got ready to leave, and North Dakota State helping out with the transfer and getting in the portal. And sometimes, man, you just got to be patient.
Yeah.
I go back to this thing that I always hear Nick Saban talk about, and it's really more of a life thing than a sports thing. Because if I was better at this, I probably wouldn't be in this current predicament. But he said, we spend time in evaluations answering 2 questions.
Okay.
He said, are you someone that can do something beneficial over the long haul when you don't want to?
Okay.
That you need to. And conversely, are you someone that does things that you shouldn't because you want to, but aren't good for you?
That's not beneficial.
He said that's ultimately what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you talk about it because, I kind of brought it up a few weeks ago where I was like, how much just caring matter, right?
Yeah, who'd you ask that to? It stumped me.
I don't remember who I asked. It might have been Tim. That seems like a Tim question.
Yeah, it was a Tim question.
And it's a little, it's framed a little differently than kind of your Saban anecdote there, but there's athleticism impresses me less and less
because you see it.
There's just a lot of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really athletic people. There's a lot of guys that can run fast and jump high and bench press 1,000,000 pounds.
Yeah, in my head, I'm like, man, you mean if Eli knocks like a 1/10 off his 40 time, like he's better? No, he's just really good.
Yeah,
but that's how it goes.
And also
that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, there's people.
If Owen was 6'5",
yeah, we're having different conversations.
I know.
Right?
It's weird.
And so I don't know. Like, I understand that there's, we talk to Adam McClintock sometimes, and I understand there's bare minimum. Like, if you can't do X, Y, Z.
Well, remember the guy that he talked about that he asked us on group text?
Yeah.
Whose testing numbers
were really, really good.
He doesn't even play.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like 3rd or 4th on their depth chart. And that's high school.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of guys with that base level of athleticism that can't play, whether it's football, basketball, whatever. And then there's a bunch of guys that I think we don't necessarily think have that base level of athleticism that probably do if we would take the time. And that's sort of what I like about Adam's deal is I feel like it uncovers more of those guys. It's like, oh, I didn't realize how athletic he was.
Yeah.
That's
why I like a lot of the grit testing and some of those grit scores.
Yeah.
That they now have guys do for psychological profiles because, I mean, we see it all the time, man. It's a lot of wasted athleticism.
Oh, for sure. And it'll drive you crazy.
Oh,
right. You chase it.
Well, if you let it.
It's hard not to sometimes, right? Like,
yeah.
I was talking with I have a friend of mine that coaches as head coach of college basketball, and the thing that I talk to him about the most is, and you bring up non-negotiables all the time. I talk about what is the one thing you can live with, right? When you're coaching at a small school level, whether it's NAI like my buddy or like D2 or even just like a group of 5 school, you're not getting the complete packages, right? And there's not that many of those guys anyway.
Right.
But you're especially the further down you get the chain, you're like, okay, either we've got like a character issue, a size issue, an athleticism issue, a grades issue. Like there is going to be an issue. That's why they're here, right? So what is the issue you can live with? And deciding that, I think, will determine how successful you are.
That's funny. That's kind of how I decide what I want to eat.
Yeah? What can you live with?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, for instance, por ejemplo.
Yeah.
I'm not a big believer in like carb balance shells.
Okay.
Right. I'm part of this tinfoil hat committee that follow these people on the Tick of the Talk that
Yeah.
Like teach you to read secret ingredients and stuff. And I'm like, the give or take for carb balance, yay, nay.
Yeah.
So I tried. I go to these egg yolk shell things.
Okay.
I wouldn't say they taste the best.
Okay.
I don't even love the texture, but it's like
Texture's hard for me. Texture's a deal breaker for me a lot of times.
especially with those shells.
Texture's a deal breaker for me more often than taste is.
But what can I learn to live with?
Exactly. What is the thing that you're willing to put up with?
Yeah. And I'm willing to put up with
Mhm.
the micrograms.
Yeah.
The cows, or the lack thereof. But I did figure out something yesterday.
What's that?
Want to high five me?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Tell me what it is, then I'll decide.
I heat this. I toast them.
Okay.
Covers up
The texture,
the
at
lack
least.
of- yeah.
All right, I'll give you
Made
one.
half shell quesadillas.
There you go.
Thank you. Guess what else I ate?
What's that?
Refried turds. Not a big refried beans guy.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't eat turds in any.
By the way,
form.
my dog has stopped eating poo.
Nice.
So, do you think when she went to the vet,
Was it the pineapple thing that
I
helped?
hope so. I don't know.
Well, did you start doing it?
Maybe she just start acting like not a dummy. I mean, that could be a very plausible thing.
Fair.
Hey, stop being a ding dong. No, she's ridiculously bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, unbelievably. Like, she's like most ladies try. She's going to try to rule the house. It's all right.
Yeah. Is this your first girl dog?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
My girl dog ran that place.
Yeah, she's no joke.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go ahead and spring to get her a spade, though, because I'm not about to put up with this attitude. There's already enough of that going on.
Got too much of that going on already.
This girl Zoe wakes up talking about, Dad, I got a nosebleed. We're going to fix your ass down somewhere, girl. Stop walking around this house.
Go figure it
I was
out.
like, oh, all right, let's get it figured out. I can't keep it from bleeding. Well, you got your face drenched over the toilet. Let's not do that. It's one of those mornings.
Alex chimes in.
A train added again.
He goes, maybe I missed it, but Ravi, those are two different heads in front of DB. Yes, I know. Those are two different heads. Those are two different
Are you
people.
sure you recognize that those are two different
Those are two different
minorities?
people. Yeah, those are two different people.
Well, who are they?
We got To Kill Shorts. That's one of my guys.
Uh-huh.
And then we got Lonnie Teasley.
Yeah. What do you think happens at 10:30 with Berymon? Hi, hey, good morning, Juan. So
Juan is here.
I'm going to tell you how Juan Jedi mind tricked me.
How'd that happen?
I was thinking about this yesterday on the drive home. You know, I was sitting in the parking lot for a while. You guys all pulled out, and I was like, where are they going? Why are they leaving me?
We're leaving. We're
Like,
done.
Yeah, we've been here too long. And I was thinking about how I could rig the draft,
Okay.
like in my favor.
Yeah.
Because I know what I want, so of course I want to build
Sure.
the draft models that way.
Yeah, which means I'm going to fight you on it because I know you've got an agenda.
Well, you're not going to know.
No, I'm not going to know what you're looking for, but I know you have an agenda, so I'll fight you on it regardless.
Well,
It's
I let
like-
you do the quarterback draft thing, and I hated that scoring.
It's like when you did
The only reason I gave in
Yeah.
is because I think Rico and Austin helped.
They did help. I also
So I was like, okay,
didn't think you
it's
wanted.
gonna be balanced.
I didn't think you wanted to come up with it, so I just did it.
Oh, it's fine. I think you sell me, Shane. Short. Sorry. All good.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
So I was thinking, I was like, Juan came in with a splash.
Mhm.
Very, very kind. Then he got super snarky. And I was like, oh my God, I think he's crazy.
Yeah.
Then we went through the driver's license thing. Legal, not legal. Was Juan his real name?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I think I like him.
Mhm.
I think I like him a lot. Then we were talking about like carne asada and eating and taquilla,
Mhm.
which is always a good conversation starter. And then and I was like, oh.
Then he ghosted you.
Then he ghosted me.
Yeah.
And I was mad at him.
Yeah.
And he's back now. I like him again. And I don't feel like I don't like how you're manipulating my feelings, Juan.
You're mad.
Stephen Young says mac and cheese and spam is his contribution from yesterday. I'm not a big spam guy. I'm just gonna put that out there.
So I found you got
A lot of people are on the mac and cheese though.
I hate to ask this question.
A lot of people are on the mac and cheese.
Hey, hypothetically speaking,
Yeah.
how long would you keep a can of spam? Isn't it built for long haul?
I honestly have no idea.
All right, I'll wait for our judgmental, judgy McJudging experts.
I do know it's waited for the long haul. Are you talking? Is it open or closed? Like, have you opened it already?
No.
Okay.
I'm not
well, I don't know.
I'm not crazy.
You can't tell me how long you keep shrimp pizza out and then be like, oh, I would never leave an open can of spam
you
on
harp
the counter.
on the shrimp thing. It's by far not the most egregious thing I've done.
That's horrifying.
I've eaten non-refrigerated egg casserole.
Oh God.
I mean, I microwave it.
Not better.
Dude, have you ever eaten cold eggs?
No, if you're gonna,
are you being serious, Bruins? I rock with him because he usually gives me good advice, even though he takes.
So I do think spam that is not opened is supposed to last a very long time.
Okay,
4, 6, 8, 12.
Because I bought it in 2023. I forgot it was in there.
It's supposed to be very shelf stable.
I mean 2024.
Oh, you should be okay then.
Yeah,
I would think. I don't know. Let's Google. How long does spam last?
No, I'm gonna eat it, so let's not.
I won't tell you if it's bad.
Yeah, I found it yesterday. I was looking for to see if there were any of these other stupid, nasty shells we have.
It says about 3 years from date of manufacture.
Good, let's go.
So you're okay. That's AI though. It could be wrong, but who knows?
Wait, who is that?
That's Sam.
Do it again.
Do that again.
Maybe it's a 3 or 4.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
I can tell by the end.
Probably a number 2.
That's Shane. You need to go take one.
Steve says that stuff fed Russia during World War II. All right, there you go.
So I watched the conspiracy thing on TikTok.
I'm stunned.
No, this seemed plausible.
Okay.
It was cartoons that had hidden meanings.
Okay.
So do you know what they say about Popeye?
What's that?
That it was representative of guys getting hooked on heroin in the military.
Oh, okay.
And
the spinach was the heroin?
And the spinach was the addiction.
Huh.
And olive oil was the enabler.
Oh.
And Bluto was really the good guy that represented like
trying to get him off.
Trying to get off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a reach, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't done a deep dive on Popeye lore in a minute.
Let's not insinuate that I have.
You're a big cartoon guy.
I was asking.
It is not
to accrue knowledge.
It is not implausible that you would have like a deep familiarity with Popeye. Knowing your tendencies.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Outside of Tom and there's only a handful of cartoons that I would ride or die with that aren't some sort of superhero related.
Okay.
I'm not a big.
We're not counting Popeye as a superhero?
I didn't really like Popeye.
You're not a big Scooby-Doo guy.
No. Although I did like the later Mystery Inc. at the Cove that was probably 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
Better animation is fine. No, I don't rock with Scooby-Doo. Flintstones are pretty stupid. I don't watch a lot of the silliness. But I do like the superhero stuff.
Is Popeye silliness? I know the characters.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
I think Popeye's pretty ridiculous.
The most familiarity I have with Popeye is my Latin teacher taught us how to sing the theme song in Latin in high school.
Popeye the Sailor Man?
Yeah.
In Latin?
Yeah. She translated it and taught it to us. Shout out Miss Colander.
Seems like an incredible waste of time.
No, the songs help you learn.
I did learn how to sing La Bamba in Spanish. So I was in Spanish class. Were you taking Latin?
Yeah, I took 4 years Latin.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I said my Latin teacher. Who else what class would I be in?
I thought you were talking about her ethnicity.
No, she's
that would be far fetched with you, my black friend, my Indian cousin.
Well,
my white wife. You say those kinds of things.
Half my cousins are Indian, to be fair. The only half I talk to, really.
So let's not act like.
No, it was just funny that it didn't even occur to me in that sense that it was also an ethnicity.
Why would you take Latin?
Love Latin is great. Well, so my sister took it, and she talked about how great of a teacher Miss Colander was. And so,
did you think there was all of a sudden going to be some sort of influx or migration?
No, it's not about that. Most
I was just explaining why I took 5 years of Spanish.
Most language learning, most people, the benefits that they see aren't directly related to like, oh, I'm gonna have to speak a bunch of Spanish in my life at some point. Most of it's related to how
I think there couldn't be anything further from the truth.
I think most language learning is beneficial because of how it forces your brain to operate.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the more made up things. Maybe for you higher level.
I mean, there are certainly people that take Spanish because they're going to have to speak Spanish, but I think a lot of the benefits of language learning are outside of the actual speaking of the language.
What? That's why you think people learn other languages is to stimulate your mind, Craig.
I'm not saying that's
There's lots of things that can stimulate your mind.
Primary
mushrooms, other hallucinogens.
I'm
you
not
don't
saying,
have to take a foreign language.
Apparently, Popeye was doing all sorts of stuff. I'm not.
Mikey likes it.
I'm not saying that's the primary reason people do it. I'm saying it's one of the primary benefits of learning another language.
I understand that because you're big. That's the whole thing behind the Rosetta.
Yeah, it's the way just your
Parks
brain processes thing. Rosetta Stone. That's it. No, although I think it's Rosa.
We're over it.
Oh, okay.
I moved on.
All right. I just want to make sure.
I don't really rock with you sometimes.
I don't think people consciously think, hey, I want to learn a language to change how my brain processes things. I think that's one of the primary benefits that people get from it.
Okay. That's the
result, not the intention.
Yeah, I appreciate the context.
Yeah.
Now that I can agree.
Yeah, I don't think I wasn't like 14 being like my brain's gonna work different. No, like it was.
Yeah, because that would be pretty.
No, the only reason I took it is my sister took it, loved the teacher, and was like, you have to take classes with Miss Colander.
Yeah, I always wanted to be employable. So you see how that worked out for me by taking a foreign language.
Well, here we are.
It does help me with Juan.
If you want to get back into,
I know Jose Bueno. See,
We all know how that ended up.
Shout out me.
If you want to get back into the radio game, La Nueva might be the only one left in business, so that might be good for you.
I did have Mrs. Nichols.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, come on.
So
she wasn't my favorite. She ended up like being my favorite, but my favorite Spanish teacher was at Morton.
So HP said,
but I did have. I guess what my Spanish name was.
What's that?
It started with a P, and don't say
Pedro.
That's not a bad guess.
Pablo.
No, I don't even know if Pablo was popular back then. I think it was more negative with.
Like Petey? P Pablo?
No, he wasn't around yet.
Yeah, I know. What other P Spanish names are there?
I was Paco.
Oh, Paco.
And my buddy Chad was Pepe. And we were Paco and Pepe.
I think of Pepe more as Italian, but you're probably like, they're very similar languages.
Like you're tapping into, I have no idea.
No, I just like, I might not even be right. Just when I hear the name Pepe, I'm like Italian.
Lee, there's a Bugs Bunny deal too about Elmer Fudd.
HP said, did you know Mr. DeMarco?
Pepe from Bugs Bunny. First thing I think of.
Le Pew?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst characters of all time.
He was French.
Not that I have anything against French. I like fries sometimes when I was 13 and younger.
Dude, fries are good. I know you don't eat carbs anymore. Fries are great.
No, that's kind of a misnomer. I eat some. I'm just gonna kid because you're just not gonna do this to me. A lot of that stuff I just don't like.
That's fine.
That's all.
You do like potatoes though. That's the thing. I know you like potatoes.
Yeah, I do.
And you avoid a lot of them.
Yeah, just
fair.
Unnecessary. Yeah.
Okay, but that's kind of like
I
choose not to eat certain things you like.
I saw a nice recipe that I do want to try though.
What's that?
So this was, how you get like Instagram reels?
Yeah.
So I got an IG reel where I was watching these breakfast sandwiches where they like put the slice in the tortilla and then you fold it over and then you can make like perfect triangles and I know they're making fun of me, so stop laughing at the chat. It's totally fine.
I didn't do anything.
So you make me nervous. Do I need to put my glasses on?
No, it's fine. Just keep going.
So I kept scrolling to see what other recipes there were. And there's one where, do you know what I'm talking about? Where you have the circular tortilla and you slice it and then you can fold it over. You put like the 4 slits in it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
3,
and then you kind of make like a crunch wrap, basically.
What are the things? 12, 3,
6 and 9. Yeah.
I
was trying to help.
I was going to get it.
Oh, okay.
And then you fold it over and it makes the triangles.
Yeah.
They did it with mashed potatoes.
Ooh.
And I'm telling you, and they topped it with cheese. And
you love mashed potatoes.
Especially when you make them and then you reheat them, like where they get a little Oh, I was gonna say scab, but that's gross. You know, they get a
little
little
crust
crust to them.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I'm doing that. I do not love French Canadians. He's got his nerve.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the same problem. As did Foreman. Like, we're trending here. One's coincidence, two's a fluke, three or more's a trend.
Do you know him?
Who?
DR?
Yeah.
Or are you saying I had the same problem?
No, he had the same problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that weirdo.
Well, you just got to clear things up.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the Alice in Wonderland and Winnie the Pooh stuff, too. But I hadn't seen it with, like, basic comics or basic cartoons.
Yeah. Headley, that's what DB thought I meant.
What?
He goes, I liked a few Latinas in school.
That's what
the same.
That's
what
I thought you meant.
No, my Latin language teacher.
That's what I thought you. So anyway,
yeah.
In my.
All right, we're going Brazilian.
I thought that's what you meant.
That's Portuguese, is their language.
Which, by the way, is very similar to Spanish.
Yeah, which has a lot of roots in Latin. All the way back around.
You're so stupid. You want to set the lineup?
Sure.
Because it's actually a little professional today.
Well, at some point it might be. At 8 o'clock, we got Brian CHRISTOPHERSON, Husker 24/7. He's our regular.
I'm not a. Go ahead.
You're not a what?
He asked me which Pooh character I was.
At 8:30, we've got Jessica COODY, Husker Radio Network. And then
why 8:30?
Because Suits couldn't do, so we put Jess in there.
Is she even up?
Apparently. She said yes, didn't she, Shane?
All right. Have a good day. Bye, Shane.
So silly.
What?
At 9 o'clock, we've got Dr. Susan Elza, the Nebraska Assistant Athletic Director for Football Administration.
She probably had to hurry. She's like, they're waiting on 10:30.
It's quite the title.
Yeah, read that again. That's a lot of words.
Assistant Athletic Director for Football Administration.
Yeah, but I want you to make yourself a little vulnerable and admit to her, hey, Dr. Elza, thank you for coming on the show. Like, you were my choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a problem doing that.
And she's gonna think you're weird.
That's cool.
No, she won't. I wonder if she's gonna be nice to you. We talked to her a couple times.
Yeah, I know.
She's very smart.
She says hi to me when I'm down there if she sees me.
She's cooler than a fan.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I'm fascinated. She fascinates me.
So do you want to? Last time you didn't get all the questions you wanted to with my last friend.
DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to just? You can ask Doctor. You can just go, and I'll wave at her.
No, you can be part of it.
I'm here for you.
You can be part of the conversation.
I'll give you one of the days this month.
The royal we. No, I don't think I have one here in America, but it's okay. Like, I don't get a month, but that's all right.
Well, part of your family gets the other 11 months just naturally.
Yeah, not the part I look like.
Strong genes in that one.
Well, you know, if I had kids, they'd probably look that way. It's based on my brother and sister's kids.
Is that how alleles work?
I don't know. I think,
chromosomes.
When you start
Did you do the big X, big Y thing?
Oh yeah, the pundit squares.
Oh god,
I believe is what they're called.
Did you learn that in Latin?
No, that was in biology.
You're a pundit, all right.
That was biology class. I believe that was with Mrs. Pruess.
Pruess?
Yeah, she was cool.
Pruess?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember if the E or the U came first, but yeah. No, she was super cool.
I always get those screwed
up.
Yeah,
there was an E and a U and then double S. That's all I know.
They didn't teach you that in Latin?
No, I think it was more of a. I think that was more of a Germanic leaning.
It's probably EU,
like European Union.
You need to Google the group EU.
EU,
and then tell me the song that they're most famous for.
So, like the band EU.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it Da Butt?
Yeah. Hey.
I like how it's spelled DA'.
That's like you talk about a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
it was EU in that song. I'm very, 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 very quick on my feet.
Da Butt.
Wait till you hear the lyrics. Walk down the street, I'm telling you, you'd bob your head. I guarantee, gosh darn it.
TK wants somebody to fix the phone.
Who's Shane talking to? The feds?
Well, he can talk to him on the phone, but then he can't get him on. Like,
so anybody that wants to talk, Shane, do you have to link them?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we haven't had phones for a minute, but the part's on order, so it should be.
Well, we'll be in the new studio by then.
Yeah. Maybe.
What?
Maybe.
Shane, what do you know?
He said,
You know, we're gonna start a new segment whenever you say.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be called 1 to 10.
Why is that?
It just how something made you feel over a highlight of the weekend. We're just gonna call it 1 to 10, and it's in
10, 11, 12.
It's in honor of your piss poor behavior, where you go volatile 1 to 10 quickly.
Of my unique ability to be passionate about many topics. I think that's what you mean.
I think piss poor behavior sounds better.
I wouldn't go that far.
And by the way, don't ever think Amazing Daniel isn't listening, because this dude last night said, and he does this sometimes. He goes, Brett Maher, come on down. Just kidding. Laughy emoji. I slid that in. That was so innocuous.
Which part?
When I said Brett Maher, come on down.
Oh, yeah.
During the special team.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Amazing Daniel. Like, of all the things to catch was that he sent me at 9:00 last night.
You know, So that reminds me. I don't think I brought this up yesterday.
Probably not.
We had somebody that DM'd me that wanted to have
what are those?
A special. Well, you can get those on Instagram too, but
I don't even know Instagram works.
I mean, I do, but I don't.
They wondered if we could have a special section of the draft for the listen later crowd.
Oh, so there's a lot of those.
There's a lot. We have a lot of podcast downloads. Like, it's as many as listen live, if not more.
Huh. I don't know how we do that.
I don't either.
How could I doctor that in my favor? But at least I'm shooting you straight.
Well, I mean, I know how you operate.
Yeah.
It's like when you're trying to get me to take bets, and I'm like you.
Now, a couple you could have gotten me.
I know, but
you could have easily fleeced me on Minnesota, Nebraska.
Here's the thing, though.
But you let me talk you into not believing because of my delivery.
Listen, you're doing the same thing that we tell people not to do all the time. You can't live on the results. You got to live on the process.
Become the consummate flip scripper.
My
script
flip scripper.
I know what I said. I'm well aware. I didn't even get a chance to fix it.
My bad.
Script flipper.
Yep. How so? How am I the ultimate?
Because you use my stuff against me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna zig now because you're starting to zero in.
I'm just trying to get some logical consistency.
Ravi.
You know, so if you're saying like, hey, this is this, then I'm gonna stick you with it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to at least.
All right.
All I know is, like, if you're not gonna text me mid-game about a bet, unless there's something that you saw that you think
was early. It was 16 to 12 to 10.
Yeah, we were about 8 minutes in.
You should have just taken it.
Nope. You had not mentioned that game a single time before that.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I know.
You got to start laying ground.
You got me.
You got to start laying groundwork earlier.
I knew somebody was going to write this thing. I know it. Who do you think's quicker to come up with jokes, Hot or Headley?
Ooh.
A-Train's in that discussion, too. Maybe we could have the comedic team.
Honestly, I think Alex is probably the fastest.
He's the naughtiest.
And high volume. He's high volume.
He doesn't appear to give any cares.
He doesn't miss.
At least Headley and Hot kind of censor themselves.
Sometimes.
Dude, Alex is crass.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
It's fine, though.
Miller Time says, I listen live as much as I can, but my daughters prefer to listen to Bongo Cat and Peppa Pig rather than Ravi and Davey.
What is Bongo Cat?
I have no idea.
I do know what sorry-ass Peppa the Pig is. That cartoon. I'm traumatized over Peppa the Pig. I think it is the dumbest cartoon that have garnered traction maybe since.
Apparently that's Bongo Cat. I don't know. I've never seen it.
See, like I could draw that I could just be doodling here at this right here and draw that cat. And somehow that thing's popular.
It's Peppa Pig.
Oh, this little annoying person with this accent.
That looks like a cat.
And they're such whiners.
Wait, that is oh, wait. No, why did I didn't want cat. Peppa Pig. There we go.
Is that Dong Cat?
No, that was.
Doja?
There's apparently a cat also in Peppa Pig, but it's a different cat than.
Is it Dong? What was the name of that
Bongo cat? I think Bongo Cat.
Whatever. Ken said it's time to take control of your kids. Yeah. Exactly. Get your kids. What did Kobe say? DB, who the Lakers gonna trade for?
I don't know. They have so many expiring contracts, Kobe. I don't know.
I'm just glad. Like,
I don't know.
What's Cleveland doing?
So, I don't know why the Garland thing in Mitch. Like there's times it looked really good.
Yeah.
But this is like 3 years now.
Yeah.
But it was never good enough. Did Garland not play enough?
So he was banged up a lot this year.
And this isn't the first year.
Yeah. So I think, like, if you're saying, hey, it's availability, then whatever. But it's not like James Harden's going to play more smoothly with Donovan Mitchell than Darius Garland did. Also, if you're trying to get over the hump in the playoffs, is there a player, a high-profile player, you would want to trade for less than James Harden?
I don't know, but by the time he gets to Cleveland, he'll probably be back to he'll drop about 16 lbs.
Oh yeah, he'll look nice and skinny, but by the time he gets to Game 7, he'll be a ghost again.
Delta 8. These guys. Does anybody roll anything anymore, or they just pop?
I think there's still an old school contingent that prefers the old school methods.
Yeah. I always look at the thumbnail if I want to know. They grow that thing like a shovel so they can do their own slicing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least that's what.
I thought that was used for other stuff.
No, that was just in the movies.
Oh, okay.
No,
I don't know.
So you don't want that thing in your. You don't want that residue.
Okay. I'm not as familiar with some of these things.
Don't know.
See,
there you go.
I only know about the movies.
Got that paint game right, huh?
I only know about the movies. That's all I know.
You haven't even seen any of the good ones.
So he said, Juan, I don't know what that means.
What did Juan say?
He said some people boof. I don't know what boof means.
I kind of want to Google.
Should-
I believe Juan when he sounds silly, but I think he's keeping it a buck.
What does boof mean?
Do you have to do it like that?
Yeah, I just want people to know that I'm looking for them.
Oh, God. You type like a grandma. Shout out all
Oh.
I don't know what else to say.
No, I don't. No, I just don't Google it. Don't Google it.
Really?
That was on company Wi-Fi. I just did that on.
Plop, plop. Fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is.
What? He said, oh. No. And if you have that kind of reaction?
That's not what I thought it was going to mean. It caught me off guard. It's also something I would never, ever do.
Too late, T-Mac.
TK?
You got to watch TK, man. What do you say now?
You just all caps. Don't Google boof.
TK, I'm not traumatized is a little harsh.
He said clear the search. Oh, there's my man, JMP. Clear the search history immediately.
I probably could share my screen if I really wanted to, Jimmy, but I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that today. We have serious guests on today, guys.
Yeah.
We can't be talking about.
We have one.
Or
two.
We have a serious guest on today. We got to stop talking about boofing in the next 1 hour and 21 minutes.
So this is Ass Wednesday?
That's actually a really good joke, Shane.
Mikey likes it.
That's incredible.
If you had Googled boof, that'd be way funnier to you.
If Alex says it's nice, it wasn't.
I mean, 0 cares given.
You probably need to Google it.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm going to remain
it's fine.
Curious about that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, shoot. So there's Scott.
Mm-hmm.
So remember when he got on me about the speeding thing and the rolling through the lights?
Yeah.
So now I still speed through the neighborhood, but I stop at the 4-way.
Oh, good. At least you stop at the stop signs now. What are we talking about?
Well, that was his biggest.
People in your neighborhood are probably terrified to see you rolling by.
640. Nobody gives a bleep. They're the same two cars getting ready to back out with their lights on, and I have no idea what they're doing. But every day the cars look the same.
Scott,
the lights are on. The cars aren't moving. They're relatively new cars. They ain't warming them up.
What do you mean?
They're just they look the same.
Why wouldn't they be warming them up because they're new cars?
Why do you have to warm up a new car?
So it's warm inside when you get in. That's why people pre-start their cars. It's not for the engine.
Oh. Nobody asked you.
I know the weather doesn't bother you.
Why are you riding with this dude?
I'm just still thinking about Ash Wednesday.
Shane's always thinking about it.
Okay, fair. I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna eat it. That's a good point. I did not think of that.
I think weather bothers you than it does less than it does most people.
I did not think of that.
So I think that's all.
I'm gonna eat it.
That's all.
That's fine. But I'm wrong. Like that's why I win the majority of the arguments. Because when I'm wrong, I'm out.
Yeah, you're just like ripcord. We're done.
I was like, oh, poop. That's a good point.
Yeah, no, it's the heat thing. It's not the car.
I don't need you to deliver the information like
not
that.
The engine. I can only deliver it a certain way.
Yeah.
How long have you known me now?
Too long.
We're going on almost a decade.
Too long.
Have you ever heard me deliver information in a kind way?
No. I don't even think you're capable.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not in me.
He goes, it's not for the engine.
It's cold out, man.
Just get in. Just move. Did he say, DVD jump in your cold car and immediately take off?
No, DB sits in his car longer than anybody I know.
Yeah, I have to find the right music.
Which is totally fine, but most people are trying to warm up.
No.
You don't even wear coats, so like I understand why it never occurred to you. I do. Like I understand why the weather part of this never occurred to you.
Just be putting me on blast.
No, like weather doesn't bother you, which is great. It bothers almost everyone else.
I wouldn't say I just, hit 90 when it's -6 out, Kobe, but I'm not like, ooh, I need to get warm.
Yeah, no, I try and get that. If it's real cold
out.
The
only time I really get in a cold car is here.
Yeah.
I mean, my garage is fine.
Yeah, you stay pretty warm in the garage. Yeah, that's nice. But if they're not in the garage, right?
And they're not.
Yeah.
But every day at the same time, I always think they're getting ready to back out.
Oh, yeah. My neighbor does that across the street. Like their car lights are always on, so I'm always like, are you in? You not in?
In my defense, I mean, it's speeding, but 35 mile an hour is not like I could almost run for at least 2 houses that fast.
No, you couldn't.
For 2 houses?
You can't run 35. I'm going to look how fast Usain. What's the fastest Usain Bolt?
So is the car going from the okay. So if a car was coming down the street at 35 mile an hour,
yeah,
for 2 houses,
yeah,
and it's coming down, and then you're gonna when it gets to right before it gets to me, you're gonna say go for 2 houses. Do you think I could?
How right before? You got to be at full speed before it gets to you, and then it will pass you probably before it gets. The fastest Usain Bolt's ever run is 27 miles an hour.
But it's for a certain time period.
I
only got to do it for 2 houses.
You can't run
driveways.
You can't run 35 miles an hour.
That's, I mean, what's a 1-4-8 10-yard dash over 20 yards? I could do that.
Still?
No, but close.
Okay.
Let's say 1-6.
Okay.
Which isn't close in like track times, but it's still moving. Do you know what this makes me think of?
What?
This dude swore up and down. LP used to tell us that he could beat a plane taking off from the start to the time it took off. And I'm like, there's not a snowball's chance in heck.
No, there's not.
No, dude's irrational with that, though. It was hilarious. And he would get so serious about it. He's like, you don't think I could beat a plane in the 40? That's what he would say.
If the plane is starting from a dead stop.
So that's kind of where I got it from.
If the plane or car is starting from a dead stop.
Yeah, but I don't want some cars will just can start that fast.
Now they can't, yeah. Especially like
you might be one of the dumbest people I've ever met.
So I don't know.
Anytime I can play that sound effect, I'm all about it.
I don't know if this is right, but the internet's telling me your 1.6 10-yard dash gets you about 13 miles an hour.
Oh, is that it?
Which is not going to get you far.
Because I can't do it for a mile.
No, that's 13 miles an hour for 2 houses versus 35 miles an hour for 2 houses is not going to get you there.
It's only it's 30 feet.
You're 22 miles an hour below your speed you need to be.
I can't stand the rationale.
The distance doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Unless you're starting from a dead stop, then you might be able to accelerate faster than the car, depending on what type of car it is.
You think he could beat a plane in the 40?
No! Maybe from a dead stop, because planes take a while to get going. If the plane is already going at all, no. Also,
I don't know, Tim. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I literally think that.
if you're starting at the back of the plane, you lose because the front of the plane's basically at the 40 already.
We got to start at the back of the plane. Why can't we back the plane up and start at the front?
You can if you want to. We haven't laid out terms.
Because you can't go over the line. So it's not like the back wheels are going to be at the start line. The nose of the plane would.
I know, but where are you starting on the plane? That also matters.
I'm not doing it. That was him.
Yeah, you just want to race a car.
I'm just telling you, I don't think 35 mile an hour is that fast.
Literally would be 10% fat. Nope. 30% faster than any humans ever run.
Can I say relative to driving?
What does that mean? Relative to how?
Because if you were going 35 mile an hour to go to the store, you'd be like, man, this is too slow.
Okay.
So relative to how you normally drive, 35 mile an hour isn't that fast.
It is in a neighborhood, especially when you're questionable on stop signs.
It's just wide open. It's just long stretch downhill.
Especially when you're a little iffy on the stop sign procedures.
No, I'm stopping now.
Now?
There's no one coming.
You would never know.
It's dark. I can see lights. There are these things that will flash and let me know in enough time if a car is coming. It's freaking pitch black.
Alex goes 35. Or no, that wasn't Alex. It was.
You get a ticket for driving 35.
Ken says, DB, if you're going 35, do you have any hammies left?
No, they're blown out. Blown clean, smooth. That and my Chili's. That's why I wouldn't try it.
That's the only reason? Not because no human ever has run 35 miles an hour?
I'm done with you.
I'm just saying.
It's totally fine.
I'm just saying, if you can run 35 miles an hour, you're in the wrong line of work, man.
What am I gonna do being fast?
I don't know.
How is that useful?
Could have won the Olympics, probably.
Oh, okay. Are they lifelong endorsements?
I mean, I think Usain Bolt's doing okay.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, he's fast for a long time.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder
if you're running 35 miles an hour, that's like a sub 9-second 100-meter.
No, I'm aware.
So I think you'd be okay on endorsements.
I think you're kind of missing the point, though.
I think you're trying to put a context in which this doesn't sound ridiculous, and that doesn't exist.
You're not there. How big is that brush? Nobody puts baby in the corner.
I didn't put you in the corner. You put yourself in the corner of being able to run 35 miles an hour.
So
put this. Hold on. Put this in terms of Caleb.
I'm gonna move on.
Put this in terms of Caleb.
Okay.
What's the fastest he's run at Nebraska miles per hour?
22.6.
Okay. That's 2/3 of what you're talking about. For context.
It's fine. I beat him in a race too.
Okay. Has that happened in the last decade?
Wow.
He's pretty fast now. That's all I'm saying.
10 years ago?
When's the last time you think you could have beat him in a race? That's actually a good question.
I don't know. He's probably in the 9th grade.
It's like
8th grade, maybe.
It's like 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah.
All right, so I wasn't crazy.
I can't stand it. It's been a bad 6 minutes.
JMP,
a real bad 6 minutes.
JMC says, I want to see this race only if DB's rocking the Flash costume.
Where was Ravi when I said I could walk to North Platte?
Oh, you can walk to North Platte. I just don't know how long it's going to take you.
Would I say I could do it in Shane? It was irrational.
Like a week or whatever it was?
No, I could definitely get there in a week.
I think I was thinking like 2 days.
Google will tell you how long it takes to walk almost anywhere.
And people never mind. I don't even know how we got on this.
People used to walk across the country. Like that's the Oregon Trail.
Raider, I can't roller.
That's a bit of a problem.
I can't rollerblade.
You can't rollerblade?
I don't think so.
I can't either. I'm not a skates guy.
Yeah, I can't either. That's fine. BG, just be on my team. That's a lot of words.
I was gonna. Yeah, I don't know.
I've been driving 35 miles down I-80 for the last 10 minutes, and now I'm getting pulled over. See, I appreciate the support. You get tickets for that. It's because it's slow relative to drive. Here goes Kobe cussing again.
On the interstate, it is slow. What'd Kobe say?
No effing way I'd walk to North Platte. For money, I would, because I think that was the discussion.
Yeah, I mean the amount of money would have to be pretty significant, I think.
Dang, 97 hours?
Yeah.
It would take me
That's like 4 days, right?
4 days to walk to North Platte?
Well, how many miles is it?
I'm gonna guess 300.
So 300 miles. Like how many miles do you think you can walk a day? That's the question.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna be using the restroom.
280 miles. So that's a good guess. That was close.
Like you said, about a week.
I know I sounded dumb, but I'm really not.
No, it's
a bad 6 minutes.
think you
now 8.
sound irrationally confident sometimes, but
It would take me 4 days. See, now that I would put to the test maybe for enough money. And it wouldn't even have to be a ton.
well, so think about it. So 280 miles, if you're doing,
4 days?
4 days, you gotta be doing like 50 miles a day. Like that's pretty aggressive.
Huh.
Like that's a pretty good pace, I think.
4 days?
I don't know. I'm not trying to. I mean, no, that's more than that. That's like 60 miles a day, 70 miles a day, 70 miles a day. 4 divided by 280. I'm not an idiot, I swear. 70 miles a day.
God, that'd be lonely. Oh, I could be like the lady that just rode across the Atlantic. How was she charging her phone? There's got to be ways to get around stuff.
Like probably solar. Probably do have a little solar panel with the electric thing. That's how they do it on like boats and stuff, I would imagine. I mean, I know that's how they do it on boat. I imagine that's how she did it also.
Sounds like my Wi-Fi question to Kyle on the plane.
Which one was that?
You
don't want to ask?
No.
Okay.
I did ask.
Oh.
And I got hammered.
I think it was Taryn Smith was her name. Millard South grad.
Yeah. I just watched it.
Went from Spain to Antigua, I believe, was the route. It's considered the hardest row in the world.
I wonder if
Congrats
she saw
to Taryn.
any of I told you that Pac still has like a 3-boat fleet.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps one of them down close to Antigua.
Yeah. Maybe he like helped her on the way in, you know? Make sure nobody bothered her.
Super social.
Okay.
He was only at Westside for like 30 minutes.
TK says you don't like camping. This could be a problem on the walk.
Yeah, camping would suck.
Unless you're allowed to stay at hotels. You could stay at hotels a long way if you wanted. Here's the other thing you have to remember is you got to have a backpack or something too, because you got to have some sort of supplies.
Shane can drive 35 mile an hour next to me in case I need something to drink.
Well, you're not walking anymore at that point. That's a pretty good jog.
Well, and the more you walk, the more your rate of speed's gonna decrease.
It just seems like a long time for a place that's not that far away.
Walking is slow.
4 days? Jeez.
Walking 70 miles a day is a lot.
That's why I don't walk.
That's me either, man.
That's why I don't walk.
Not trying to do that.
It's fine.
I don't even recognize what we're
I
doing.
would be so hurt.
Oh yeah, your feet would be messed.
I get some of those hoikas. Those are good.
I think some hokas. I don't think there's an I in there. Hoika? Fred Hoiberg?
God, I can't.
Jack says you can do it. Jack thinks you can do it.
That's why Jack's on my draft pick list.
Alex wants you to live stream your walk to.
No, I'm not doing it anymore.
You
guys are a bunch of negative. Man,
you could do it for.
I'm just saying. I don't know if I want to clear the air.
Yeah,
I probably couldn't. It just seems like a long time to get to North Platte.
Yeah, no, I get it because you can drive there in like 4 hours.
4 days?
Yeah, so that's why we invented cars, man. Nobody's trying to do that.
I'm not sleeping for at least 2, and that's not a stretch.
Yeah. But you still have to add to get it down under.
I would be pretty slow.
To get it down under 4 days, you got to add like.
Doesn't it seem like a long time?
It does, but you have to add like 30 miles a day to get it under.
So Lincoln would
4 days.
take me a day? Although you're going to lose pace, so you have to factor that in.
Yeah, you're going to get tired. You're going to get tired.
How long would that's pretty good. How long would it take me to walk to Lincoln?
So that's 40
miles.
45 51 miles. Most of a day, yeah. If we're talking a 70-day pace, you might be able to walk a little faster because there's an end in sight, but that's going to take you most of a day.
That is incredible.
Because it takes you 40 minutes to drive there from your house.
Dang. So when I wanted to quit at Nebraska, my dad said I had to walk. I'd have been like, hey, see you tonight.
See you tomorrow.
Shut up, Shane. It's not funny. I was traumatized at the time. You ever had to lock her in a... Never mind. It's totally first world problems. No! Okay. This was not a good stretch for me.
I mean, depends on who you ask.
It's fine. It's not going to take a day. These people walk to Lincoln all the time. Severe does it every year. He's not more fit.
No, but it does take all day. That 50-mile march thing is an all-day thing. It's like a 12-hour ordeal.
12 hours isn't all day. There's 24 hours, numbnuts.
Other people sleep, DB.
No, but a day is a day. A day is not 12 hours.
Okay, but we're talking about a day from we're talking about days from Omaha to North Platte. That's different, right? Because
why are hours just the no?
Because you're gonna have to sleep at some point. If you can't walk for 4 consecutive 24-hour stretches. Is my point. Like
it's not going to take me a day to walk to Lincoln.
It's going to take you most of daylight of a day to walk to Lincoln.
Yeah, you're going to piss me off.
Ask him how long it takes.
I am going to ask him.
Well, just ask him.
I can't. Just shut up.
Just go ahead and ask him, DB.
Fudge. How long does it take your pigeon-toed self to walk to Lincoln?
See, just come out fighting. He didn't do anything. He hasn't done anything yet this morning.
Well, he doesn't even have. He's got a weird gait. He can't even walk fast.
Well,
although he is an amazingly fast walker.
Why?
This dude blew my doors off from the press box to the
parking
parking
yeah, you
garage.
Told me about that. He was pressing.
Dude, I got left. I think it's because my backpack was too heavy, though.
Sure, that's why it was. You think you could beat a car, but you can't walk fast enough for severe?
Okay.
My bad. You want to talk to BC?
I have faith in you, Damon. You can do it. You talked me into it. You did.
It's fine. Just pile on.
Kobe says, DB hit that 35 miles per hour. You'll be done before you know it.
I'm kicking him out of the. He can't be in the locker room.
I was gonna say you're getting him out of the draft. He's not one of your protected picks anymore.
He's not even supportive.
We'll talk to Brian CHRISTOPHERSON coming up next.
Whether you've walked these halls or cheered on the team, this is our chance to make a difference. Every scholarship, every breakthrough, every dream, you've been a part of this story. On February 11th and 12th, we are writing the next chapter. For 24 hours, every gift, every amount, every one of us will show our Husker pride. This is how we glow big red. This is how we make history. Give today.
It comes at a good time for us to get our guys that have been a little bit banged up, to get them right. We're actually going to come in and watch film tomorrow and get some shooting and skill work, and then we're going to take Tuesday off, and then they'll give us 3 days to prepare for Rutgers on Saturday. But, you know, this is a Rutgers team that's playing really good. They lose on the road last night by 3 to to USC. They had the game against Michigan State. They had a 15-point lead in the second half. That's hard to do, obviously, against Michigan State. So this team's playing really well, and they're always tough and physical, especially in the rack. So we need to get right, get better, this week, have a good week of toughness in our practices. Tuesday's an important day for our guys to get in the tubs and get recovered and, have a really good 3 days heading into the weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, best 40 minutes, even, first big game of the year, just having, being able to beat, having BYU down, I don't know what we got that game to, 20 plus early. I mean, that was a heck of a 25-minute stretch, probably our best 25-minute stretch. But yeah, we've been searching for a full 40, and a relentlessness, a ruthlessness, and then just better quality. I think like we made shots today. It looks a lot different, when you're making shots, and we had guys making shots.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live. Here is Husker 24/7 senior writer, Brian Christopherson.
Yeah, you got guys that walking into Ace Hardware without their shirts on.
Brian Christopherson.
We got a pretty good sewing circle in this state.
Brian Christopherson.
To me, it's like crunch time, baby.
Here is Brian Christopherson.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7. BC, what's going on, bud?
How you guys doing?
I need some help, BC.
I know.
I'm not. He said, "I know." Do I strike you as the type of person that has, now be honest, irrational confidence?
No,
No,
I don't think so. But is Ravi saying that's the case?
I think
Too much?
I may be giving off that vibe this morning. It doesn't sound like me, but when I'm listening to it, I'm trying to debate. Maybe I am irrational.
So BC must be part of the listen later crowd, which is totally fine.
Sometimes he listens right before.
I usually do listen. I just was had some errands to run. Sorry, guys.
The pause gave me heart palpitations.
So DB, this all started because DB claimed that he could outrun a car for 2 houses.
It needs context.
I said for 2 houses that was going 35 miles per hour.
BC, I'm not going to waste your time with this, but I said basically my point was driving 35 mile an hour in a neighborhood isn't that fast. And people were agreeing or disagreeing, and I was like, I could run that fast for 2 houses. And people were like, no, you couldn't. And I was like, I think I could.
Yeah, no.
Just for 2 driveways, I could tie a car.
No, you couldn't.
Anyway, what if I was going downhill?
So is the car.
Yeah, but I'm gonna run into it, and we're both gonna hit the 35 mile an hour at the same mark.
You're never hitting 35 miles an hour. That's my point.
I don't have to go that far.
I don't know. That's the sort of confidence that's built up. You almost broke off a kick return in the '94 Orange Bowl against Florida State. I was watching a little of that game the other day, and I saw you almost pop one. You got it out to like the 40-45. So I think you do those kind of things in your youth, and you should have a little belief in yourself, right? When you've been on those stages. So I don't mind it. I don't think you could. I don't think you could do it, but I don't mind you thinking you could. I like it.
Thank you. I feel better after that one. At about a 16-minute
He says,
stretch.
You can't do it, but I like that you think you can.
Why are you such a hater? Can we just end on a positive note?
I was just translating for you.
That is what I said.
I need it. I need it. I need out of here. It's fine. Are you waiting for 10:30? Are you anxiously waiting, BC?
I wouldn't say I'm anxious about it, but yeah, it's on my like 4 or 5 bullet points for the day. That'll be interesting. I think I feel good about Nebraska at this moment. I guess we have a reporter, Mike Roach, who covers that area very well, and he said the only thing is Berymon has been a little bit of a wild card sometimes with some of his, decisions and some stuff like this. So you kind of wait until something's final. But I've thought Nebraska was the favorite for a bit now, and so I'm not going to change here in the 11th hour.
So how much does that confidence come from sort of the weirdness with the visits, where it looked like he was going to Florida, then he cancels the visit to Florida? Like, that seemed like a positive development for Nebraska.
Well, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it takes off obviously one of the heavy hitters that could have been on the list, and I felt like Nebraska, even with that, had that gone through, had a good chance. They were in really good standing in the week or two before that. I know that for sure. And so, yeah, I when he didn't do that, you sort of are like, well, it's probably got to be Nebraska. But there's been enough like just weird things at the very end that you kind of you wait. I don't like to just be overly confident on the radio a couple hours before a guy makes an announcement, because you never know. Like, even one that went Nebraska's way, back when it happened, Danny Odom, I remember there was like a waiting period for that one, like a half hour longer than it was supposed to be, and ends up being Nebraska's, and that stuck. And so sometimes those go your way too, but I always keep recruitments like that in mind, and like what can happen at the very end in the last hours. But I do feel good about Nebraska going into the day.
Hey, how about, we get another quarterback in the class with late edition as he signs this morning. Did you like what you saw?
Yeah. I thought, it's another nod toward sort of where they're going with the QB position. And he's definitely, you look at he's a true dual threat guy. Like, his stats running the ball are really impressive. I know he self-reports a 4.4. I don't always go with that, but he's a fast kid. He's very fast, and had a lot of schools that utilize running quarterbacks that were after him. And I think that's sort of the perfect addition for like a depth piece, is a guy who has those sort of feet where he could bring that element if he really got in a jam and you got down your pecking order and had to call on him. It's good that they have that in their bag. So I guess my overall take would be, had you told me on Christmas that Nebraska was going to end up with the QB room it looks like they're going to have with 5 guys, but also to add Calandria, Danny Kalen coming back home, they really, in that segment of it, hit it as well as they possibly could have under the circumstances, I believe. So that doesn't mean like Calandria is going to rip it up and be Big Ten Player of the Year or anything like that. I just think that what he did last year is Mountain West Player of the Year, and then to get Danny, who is going to push that competition and be great for that clubhouse too, and then just another guy who is willing to be a spot as the 26 QB and grow. We didn't think they were going to even have a 26 QB in this class for a while. So they ended up checking sort of all the boxes over like a 1 month period when we couldn't have been sure of that if we had gone back a few weeks.
BC, outside of quarterback and Berymon, obviously the signing day probably doesn't have that much weight for Nebraska, but as we not that far from heading into spring, is there, like, as you have you started doing like roster evals and like position group evals of, hey, like what they did here, wish they would have gotten maybe one more guy here? Have you started that process yet?
A little bit of that. Like with the portal, you were definitely sort of doing that. You were kind of thinking like, okay, it'd be nice if, like, I think everybody sort of settled on an opinion on the D line. Like, yeah, maybe it'd be nice if they had one more guy, but that's where it'd be nice to get, Dylan Berymon today. Obviously he's not an experienced college guy at this point, but he's a real big body plugger. that's number 124 overall in our recruiting rankings in the final 26 rankings. So that would be a nice add to that room. So yeah, there's spots like that where I look at it like maybe one more guy would have been nice there, but then there's other positions like linebacker that I'm a lot more excited about, I guess, going into the spring, at least seeing what that can develop with Chambliss on the scene. Seems like a really confident, smart kid who obviously knows Orich's defense well. And then when you combine him with Dexter Foster, who I think was a pretty good get in the portal, and Hawthorne, I know we've talked about on this show. So there's spots like that where I really do think they upgraded the competition, and now you see where that goes. There's D-line I mentioned is the one where people are going to have a question. Running back is going to be talked about all offseason. It just is. And we'll have to wait till the fall for those guys to prove that the coaches were right to have faith in them or not. But I guess that's the one position that you guys know is just going to spin around in a circle for 7 months as people talk about it.
BC, I was having this conversation, is basically with myself, but I couldn't get
I do that too.
Get Kenny to respond. He'd shut it down for the day. How much would you attribute, or could you, or be willing to, without being super myopic, that just by being a year older, different teaching and maturity, that the D-line will be better just naturally?
Yeah, they definitely should be better. It's just to what degree. And I always use the phrase open mind. That's what I have about that group. And I think it could be undersold in some circles how big a deal or how challenging it is to retain guys at the level Nebraska did this portal cycle. And I mean, that's as much a part of it as adding. So you can have that conversation of like, man, there was this one or two D linemen that I really wish they would have added to the fold. And that's fair. But you also have to look at guys that are on that roster, like a Cade Petchock or a Williams Nwaneri. There's like 4 or 5 guys where had any one of those guys said, hey, I'm going to see what's out there in the portal, he would have been like a highly sought after player. Any of those type of guys, like he would have been someone a lot of other schools would have wanted. So Nebraska did well, I think, at least to say, hey, you kind of saw this with Princewell, where we got a guy out of high school that we really liked and we were going to have a chance to develop him. It's hard to watch those guys suddenly playing in the college football playoffs for another school when you're thinking about what they could have done for you in that 3rd or 4th year. And so now they get the opportunity with all those D linemen. And that is a position group where it usually does take like a few years to really grow into, being one at first, just good. And then to get to that level of domination or get to like the Ty Robinson level his final year. I always remind people, like 4 or 5 years, even in a Ty Robinson's career, people were like, I don't think he quite maxed out to what we thought he was going to be. And I know I always end up bringing up Ty, but he's a good example of like how sometimes that steady evolution and at that position, it does take time, and you're hoping a lot of these guys kind of cross that bridge now this year.
BC, on the other side of the line, do you think we are sort of, I don't know if forgetting is the right word, but it seems like not a lot of people are talking about the combination of the talent in the room, whatever level you think that is, versus the additions of like Lonnie Teasley and Jeep Wade. Like in your levels of intrigue rankings, where does the offensive line fall for you?
Probably second highest thing. Second or third. Orich and the whole thing. This is cheating, but the whole Orich experience is I'm most fascinated by, and what he can do and how maybe they can change mindsets and how certain guys with their certain position tweaks here and there, how it could help them grow. But not far behind is the hire of Jeep Wade, and with it Lonnie Teasley. for one, I think that has immediately upgraded recruiting. There's no doubt in my mind that's the case. And they have some recruits sitting up in their chairs much more than probably previously would have been. So that's a good thing. And just his track record the last few years at Georgia Tech, and like how he gets his linemen out in space, and he's produced some guys that they're physical, but they like to get out and run. And I think it's very appealing to a lot of those guys, what's ahead for them. And so, yeah, they're right up there. And then, of course, QB would be in that conversation too. So, but O-line, with those 3 additions from the portal, and then you can't just knock away guys like Gatula and stuff when everybody's healthy as being in the fight. So that's definitely going to be a really interesting position group. Now, I don't know in the spring from the outside looking in how much we'll be able to tell, or, it's kind of one of those positions where you're going to have to wait for the true feedback in the fall. But it will be interesting getting to know Jeep Wade a little bit more over these months ahead, hopefully. And then also like what guys are sort of saying about the direction they're going.
Yeah, I get the sense with kind of how some of these rooms are being constructed. The one thing we may be underselling, especially with, I think, how they want to do spring ball, is rigor. Like, how many guys are willing or can do the same thing every day at a repetitive enough level? Because with a fresh set of eyes, I think you have to be leery of the flashes. So you want to bank on consistency, because it seems like, and this is just a process through, the new set of eyes seem to be all about the developmental toughness.
Yeah. I mean, toughness is the word I always hear from Jeep in the interviews he's done. Like every interview, it's about
House Taylor's the same way. Orich is definitely going to be the same way, and Corey Brown is like that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good. You hope it's a physical spring. Maybe that's one of the advantages of moving it up a little bit too. If a guy gets dinged here or there, gives him a little more recovery time, but just get after it, put the ball down, let the guys hit, let as much as you are allowed, and see who's got it sort of over the test of, 10 to 15 practices, who can do it, not just Tuesday, but then back it up Thursday. Or probably as important to those guys is, who can process information as they're getting to know a player, who's the type of guy where I can count on him, where, okay, maybe he did this thing wrong on Tuesday, but we went over it and then he just doesn't duplicate mistake, and those are the guys that are obviously going to see the field. And so with the new coaching staff, I have to think that's one of the main things they're looking for is guys that don't, repeat mistakes a lot. And of course, like what you're talking about, sort of bring that edge, and that like, I just love football. I love being out here. That's another thing we've heard Jeep Wade talk about. And I think that's huge in this portal era is, guys are making more money, and there's all these factors at play. You're getting patted on the back sort of in January as you pick your new spot and stuff like that. You got to find the guys within that who, yes, they're going to get theirs, but they also just love this game so much, and they know that this is just a start of what they could do with it. And they have that drive to, like, I want to play, I want to watch film, that I want to be just like saturate my life with that. So I think they're looking for that probably too.
BC, I'm about this. It's something that's sort of been in the, I guess, people have been talking about for a couple of weeks now, but it's listed this way on the Nebraska website now, so I guess it's official. It looks like Mac Markway's moved from tight end to edge. Yeah. What do you know about that process, that decision-making process? And, like, I don't know how much you followed Markway as a high school recruit. Is this something that was a possibility coming out of high school too, and he just kind of ended up on the offensive side of the ball, or what do you know about that situation?
I don't know a lot about his background there. I've just known him from when he arrived as mostly a tight end, but I did hear, and we actually switched it on our scholarship chart. We didn't make a big deal about it, but like in the bowl prep, he was already sort of getting situated with the D linemen, like in those meetings, I guess you'd say. And so, yeah, that's something that I expected. And I guess with him, the first thing is just like, you hope he gets that runway of good health where he actually gets the opportunity to show, like, if he can do it or not at that position. because it's just been rough deal after rough deal for him. The stuff, I mean, I think it's the kind of situation that's brought tears to coaches' eyes. Honestly, you got a player with a lot of talent. Everybody sees he's got this big body. He could do a lot of different things. And it's sort of like he's had that deal where he just steps on the field and a bad breaks happen, right away. Like I think his first practice is when the first injury happened 2 years ago. And so more than anything, that's what I always hope for with guys like that they can get that confidence back. Like, because that mental part of they've had the injuries, you feel right physically maybe, but can you get over that hurdle of having been through all that he's been through? So I hope he takes off. I'm not going to make any bold predictions, but that it's exciting for him, I'm sure, to go out there and let's put it down in a new spot. And we have seen guys in their career who have flipped positions, and suddenly you see like that guy was meant to be a defender all along. And so hopefully that's the story we're writing in like a year or so.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I kind of like you're alluding to the fact that, given the injury history and the way the position plays, flipping may be more of a confidence builder because he may not have to be as fill blank, right? Maybe doesn't have to be as 45-degree angle or make as many cuts, or like there's anything that could factor into the flip that from a mental standpoint makes you feel better about what you're doing.
Yeah. So a couple guys, I think Demetrius Bell's still on the roster that I know of. You never know what's the guys going through the latest, but there's been some guys who've been through it over there. And so, I just hope he gets the opportunity to take off. He definitely was like an ultra talented recruit, and like his freshman year at LSU at the tight end spot, Markway, he got a few things done. It wasn't like he just had stats that knocked you out of your seat, but he was a player like you're like, okay, that's a good little start to a career, and it's just the injuries have sort of derailed it. So I like that he's not saying this is the end of the story though, and he's going to go back out there and try it again, and let's see what happens.
Have you started to put together your list of like guys you are most interested in seeing in the spring, like individuals? And I want to limit this to returners rather than like obviously the new guys everybody wants to see those, right? Well, it's more common. Yeah. Curious about the new guys.
Yeah. I would go heavy with that defensive line and just where some of those guys come out now with these new coaches and sort of what they're being asked to do. That's definitely heavy intrigue. I always go back to Petshot because I just think he's got immense talent, and he's a guy that I'm excited to see develop in this program. And so he's somebody. Winari definitely is that way, and I think Van Poppel too. Like after the bowl game. There was a determination about him that like he was pretty honest, I think, with his teammates. He said this even in the press conference, like there were some things he feels like he could have done better, and he had some candid conversations and things like that. And so it's interesting to see where he takes that again as like a guy who's now in his fourth year. And that once, repeat, that's a position where sometimes it does take like that fourth year and you start to see a guy really make a move. So I'm excited about that. But then on the back end, I think the competition is going to be pretty hot. Like, we saw a bunch of guys in the bowl game. Caleb came in and got double-digit tackles. I think he can have things back there. Justin Rhett had maybe kind of a tough go early in that game, but he can have a spot back there. Maybe Rex Guthrie, we'll see what he can do with these coaches. And then you throw Danny Odom into the mix. There's obviously juice that comes with being he's the number 19 player by 24/7 Sports overall of all recruits. He's one of the highest rated recruits Nebraska's ever had when you put it that way. So that's a pretty interesting group that Addie's got, of course, with Miles Taylor now working with the safeties too, and how that splits up.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I'll be curious to see how they respond emotionally. What I was going to say is Caleb's one of those guys that's convinced himself that a lot of people think that it was just kind of a flash in the pan, right? He's motivated by that. There's some that could be like, well, they don't think I'm good anyway, so they could go the other way. There's guys like, Donovan Jones, who you don't really want to listen, but you kind of know what's out there in terms of how people feel about, let's say, tackling or whatever. I'll be curious to see how guys mesh emotionally with a blank slate where you need to develop, where you have to wash, rinse, and repeat. Like we super undersell the importance of short-term memory.
Yeah. Well,
Whether
yeah, definitely
good or bad, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that position group is so tough, like especially if you're like a safety, because I mean, early in that bowl game, Nebraska lost the coverage, the first Utah drive. Everybody knows like sort of who's to blame, or thinks they know who's to blame, or everybody's going to put it on social media. And that guy, of course, in this day and age, goes back, sees his name all over the place, and people sort of will settle on opinions on a guy like when he's a young player and he has a breakdown or two, or there's one play that didn't go his way. And so you definitely have to have like a toughness, a resolve, and probably an ability to just shut out the outside noise a lot there. But there's definitely like, there's just, 8 to 10 guys that you could name off back there where you're like, I could see him like starting or earning a spot. Obviously, I think the McDougal addition is huge just because he was at Idaho with Orich and San Diego State. Like that's going to be big. And I don't know what to make yet, Damon, because we'll have to see like a Victor Evans and Shiggs, the other two portal guys, like how they fit into that mix. But you throw their names in there with Andrew Marshall returning, it's a loaded competition, and not just Addison's eyes on him, but as we said, Miles Taylor, who Orich has familiarity. That makes it kind of interesting with those safeties.
Yeah, I think I'll give you another one too. With a guy like Shavers, if you rewind a year ago, he was gonna be the guy, right? That was the talk. It would be easy as a young guy to think I'm gonna be the guy. So however you prepare for that is how you prepare. This year, you have an influx of talent at the second level, and now people wonder maybe if you're going to be the guy. Like just that simple difference in approach can make all the difference in the world. Now, sometimes it's to the good and sometimes it's to the bad, but those are the things that we undersell when we look at when we think we know too much about somebody.
Yep. People start to kind of move to a different opinion and sometimes forget also that you played with one good hand for half the season, which is what Shavers did. So, I mean, you talk about guys who love football. That's always been my takeaway of V9 since he was a recruit. Like I remember he was playing in like that Florida Georgia All-Star game or whatever, like in mid-December before he got here. Some guys kind of go through the motions. I think he had like double-digit tackles and was like the MVP. Like he was all over the field. And I talking to him and his dad when that was happening, he's just like, he just like you put him between the lines. He wants to go all the time. And so I would guess he's going to have some motivations, maybe because of what people say or what's out there, that, it wasn't quite the season we thought it was going to be, but also because there's Owen Chambliss there and Dexter Foster and Will Hawthorne. That'll get you going a little bit. And obviously like Pierce Mooberry and some of those younger guys want to have a say in it now too, that were sort of behind the scenes last year.
Talk about a guy that can do hard things every day. That's Mooberry.
I love that dude.
He's a guy to keep an eye on, I think.
And another different perspective, right? We should have got a running back in the portal. No, we shouldn't have got a running back in the portal. Well, we know about these two guys. We know about this guy. Those guys' temperament in that room with no real new bodies other than Rhule will be fascinating because their role this year going into spring ball is significantly different.
Yeah.
Was last year. And EJ wasn't even the guy yet. It was just now they've got that taste. So what do you do with it? Like, it's fascinating.
It is actually a pretty fascinating offseason because there's going to be all this talk out there. I wrote down some of them, like where you're betting on yourself in a way, like running back, D-line with the guys you have and retaining them, like who your DC hire is. And then, of course, with the special team stuff, with the coaching staff, like we're staying in-house. We believe these guys are going to run it well. Like you kind of add up 4 or 5 different things, Jeep Wade and Lonnie Teasley. There's a lot where they're banking on. Matt Rhule made some big decisions and people are having their big takes right now in February. And that's fine. That's what goes with this fishbowl. But that's what also is going to make this kind of an interesting year as we settle into it, is because there were some bets where they doubled down on some guys and belief, like these are good players here. We just got to keep going with them another year and maybe tweak some things. And we're excited about where they can turn out. And so like I said, have an open mind about that and the opportunity for some of those guys to do just that.
You mean you haven't just decided everything already before we see anything? Come on, BC.
I have not. And there's a lot of people who haven't done that either, but sometimes, the loudest opinions you see the most of, but that's where this offseason is interesting to me. And like last night, I was seeing a lot of opinions about like special teams and all that stuff. I mean, this has been talked about for two and a half weeks that they were going to stay in house there. So, that has like been the plan. So now
we got to update. Now they got to get competitive and up their game.
Hey, it's a fair conversation to have. Like, can they take another step? Are they going to meet the same level? That's what makes football talk fun in the off season, I guess. But I'm pretty intrigued, like what they can do and like what Nick Humphrey learned from Mike Eckler and kind of how he schemed some things up. And Brett Maher is a guy that I've always had a lot of respect for when he was a player and like his brain. And so let's see what happens. It's an interesting storyline for sure.
That's Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 BC. Appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, B.
Yeah, thanks guys.
We've got Jessica COODY from Husker Radio Network coming up next. Let's take a quick break. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Just our chemistry and our connectivity. Everybody talks about chemistry on the offensive side. That's easy. When we're in a cell phone world where guys don't communicate, they just stare at their phone. Getting guys to talk, and we have a saying, quiet teams lose. Just the communication. I can't wait to see the film and see, if we blew any switches tonight where we blew 30-some in the first game. It's just it's a huge piece of that. And, in a building that was electric and very loud, just to have the awareness and then to hear the calls, we've made huge strides there. And then we're competing on every play. We're in better shape than we were the first time. But, yeah, we're getting better there.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's CBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Jessica COODY here from the Husker Radio Network. Jess, what's going on?
Good morning from me and Sunny. Giving you hearts.
So, just let me ask you something, and keep an open mind, even though it's me. So,
okay.
All right. So let's say I'm in the middle of a block, like a house, a row of houses. It's a straightaway, and I see a car coming towards me. It's going 35 miles an hour, and like they've kidnapped Zoe, or I am highly, highly motivated. So I start running. How long do you think I can keep up with that? Could I keep up with that car when it got even with me for 2 houses? So 2 driveways.
Yeah, maybe if you took like an angle at it.
See, I like a little optimism. Thank you.
Did you tell her how fast the car was going?
I said 35 mile an hour.
Jess, do you know how fast the fastest human ever has run?
They're banking on
But if he's like taking an angle like across the yard or something,
Like I could. You guys, it's not that far-fetched. I'm not saying I could run 35 miles.
What if the car is turning, a
Then that car's
corner?
no longer going 35 miles an hour.
I appreciate it.
Maybe.
It's not funny, Shane. Jess, I'm getting slaughtered because they're making it seem like I'm not just simply saying I could run 35 miles an hour. I'm saying that if I only had to go for a house or two to chase a car, I could keep up.
You should ask Caleb that and get his response.
Oh, God.
Text Caleb live on the show and ask Caleb his answer.
So 2 things here, Jess. Number 1,
you guys.
He's trying to reform this so he sounds less ridiculous. At one point, he was claiming he could run 35 miles.
That's not what I said.
That's the thing.
I said I could keep up for 2 houses.
At 35 miles an hour, which means at some point you have to run 35 miles an hour.
Physics, my man. I would be moving.
Well, yeah, because I kind of recall talking to guys that it's like a big deal when they hit 22. So.
And that's why I'm glad you brought up Caleb, because that is the number he has hit. And I go, so you think you can keep up a third faster than Caleb, which does not seem likely.
For the width of 2 driveways, maybe.
Here's the thing. So a car is.
I like how you spun it like Zoe got taken.
Adrenaline.
So your body would explode before you kept up with the car.
I can't stand you. It's fine.
Here's the physics of it, right? You're either getting passed by the car or you're kept passing the car. So in order to not get passed by the car, at some point you have to go faster than the car.
All right, fine. It's fine.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Just say, you know what? I was probably wrong.
Oh, I did.
That hard.
I did.
What?
I had a bad 13-minute stretch.
Well, obviously you kept arguing about it because you keep trying to get people to confirm that you were not wrong.
I kind of think I could do it. I could jump on the back of that car. I know I could. I'm telling you. I watch it in the movies all the time.
They're famously realistic.
She said, okay, it's fine.
You know, like when you watch The Matrix, you can't dodge that bullet either. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure you're not trying all the stuff you see in movies.
Well, if I anticipate when they're going to pull the trigger.
Nope. Okay.
Ridiculous.
All right.
Shut up, Shane.
Or scaling out the window to get Kyle's charts that blew out.
No, that's a Benny Mac thing. He could do that. He did that with no ropes or cables
First
or cords
down, Huskers.
or anything. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Jess, happy National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. How you doing?
I was just about to say that. Thank you. I'm doing great. It's a little early, but Shane asks, I say yes.
Oh God. Okay.
Can I pet that dog?
We appreciate you making the sacrifice to join us early this morning, even if it is just for Shane's benefit.
So, Jess, what's the journey been for you? We never talk about it because I actually think one of the things that I like, and there's only like a handful about you, is like where you've come from almost never comes up. The journey might, but it's not specific to a school. Like I would not know that you're not a Nebraska. Like I would think you grew up a Nebraska fan. A lot of that has to do with the professionalism, I think, of the job. But what's the journey been like for you as a female doing kind of what you're doing with such upward trajectory?
Yeah, I do think I bring up Oklahoma in terms of just I was a part and covered a program that made the college football playoff multiple times and covered some elite quarterbacks that are still in the NFL doing some big things. So I do feel like I tap into that because I covered it day in and day out. I saw the grind of those guys. And so I feel like that was a good reference point for me to continue to go back to because it just, I think you kind of got spoiled, or I kind of got spoiled, and Oklahoma fans got spoiled. You had Baker Mayfield, and oh, by the way, Landry Jones was the all-time leading passer. He gets forgotten in all of that, but Baker Mayfield, and then you had Kyler Murray, and then you had Jalen Hurts, and you think that just happens every year, and so it just kind of watching those guys and how they work and how they grind and what they were in a locker room. So I think reference that kind of stuff a little bit more than, being from Oklahoma, probably a little bit more, other than maybe not being as seasoned for the cold, but Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing basketball. My dad was a high school basketball coach and grew up in the gym. Literally, my mom likes to tell the story that I was born in October and basketball season starts in November. And as soon as I could, I was in the gym watching my dad coach. So I wanted to stay in the sport and was watching a football game with my dad and brother. I remembered it. I wanted to be a dolphin trainer, and then saw a sideline reporter on television on a college football game and said, "Oh, that would be fun." And then just decided, "Hey, let's do that." And then stuck with that and have made the journey through since then. And yeah, that's kind of how it got the start, is wanting to stay in sports somehow and not wanting to really coach because I didn't want to teach. And so I thought it would be fun to be a sideline reporter. And little did I realize just what kind of doors would open, and kind of now I think that that's like the least thing that I would want to do. Although I do like doing it on the radio for us now. Throughout the process, it was one of my least favorite things to do. But now I really enjoy doing it on the radio and, the role that I'm in now. But it's just crazy kind of where it started when you talk about National Girls and Women in Sports Day and you celebrate how far we've come. That was for a long time the prominent role that you saw women in. And now you see all the different roles that are open and available to women. I mean, even now as the sideline reporter for the team radio broadcast, I think there's only 4 women in the country that do the role that I'm in for the college football, for their team radio broadcast. So it's still, not necessarily a widely kind of thing that's done. I mean, on a network radio broadcast, it's done a lot to have a female in that role, but for a team radio team, it's not as widespread. So yeah, there's so many opportunities, which I'm so grateful for, that throughout the course of my career, those doors have been opened, and it is available for me to be able to do. And got to give a huge shout out to Brandon Meyer, who believed in me from the start at Oklahoma. He hired me at Oklahoma and then hired me here, and has really paved the way and given me a lot of these opportunities when a lot of people probably thought, "What the heck are you doing?" Giving her those kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, I really, really like him. These guys make fun of me just because sometimes I gravitate towards people that, I'm not going to like, just firm and fair. If I was being a baby, which I don't want you to allude to, I would say that are kind of hard on me. But the one thing I love about B is he's very straightforward. You know right where you're at, and even sometimes when it's like, ooh, but it's like, I could rock with that guy because he keeps it a buck, man. You know right where you're at with him. Yeah,
I mean, he really does. But yet he's also quick to compliment you. He's that balance of that leader where it's not. He wants you to be the best you can be. And so he's going to give you that kind of criticism that's going to help you continue to get better and be better. But then also he's quick to say, "Hey, you did a really good job with this." And so, especially when I was first starting out and I hadn't done much live stuff, and I was doing TV before I even got here. And then with the radio, I'd never done radio before. And so just the kind of the feedback that he had given me along the way, but then he was quick to say, "Well, this was really good." And so I kind of need that a little bit. I mean, some people don't, but kind of how I'm wired is I want to get better, but I also am quick. I'm very, very hard on myself. So if I get some of that, I want to get better. I want to improve, but I also am quick to beat myself up. So it's good to hear that positive reinforcement that I am doing something right, to be able to continue to. So he is a very good balance of, "Hey, we could do this, but then also to improve, but then also this was really good. You do this really well."
This is fascinating just because I watch you all the time, like in real work, because whether you're editing or doing your own stuff or the videos or cutting and splicing, part of it is you're very competitive too, right? Where you want this to be like the standard is going to be your standard. The thing that I think is fascinating though is you'll do bowling or rifling or softball or men's and women's basketball, obviously with wrestling. At what point did you know that people you commanded the respect for what you do? Because with all that range, sometimes it's hard, man. Like football, we can be knuckleheads sometimes, and you're getting into these in-depth interviews, and it's like you don't skip a beat. Like the level of respect is at a high level.
I think that's where and from the start, it's how I got to where I gained the respect, because especially with Husker fans is they do appreciate those other sports. And while they might not follow it or want to hear about it all the time, they do care. They want to know about it, I've found. And I get emails a lot. Hey, I appreciate hearing about this because I didn't know this. Or, hey, I didn't know how this worked. I didn't know how the rifle competition worked, and so I think they appreciate it and knowing kind of what's going on. And I think Husker fans are really prideful about having a national champion in Axelina Johansson, who is a 2-time national champion and was an Olympian at Paris and probably going to be an Olympian again in Los Angeles. I think those kinds of things they take pride in. And while it's not something that you hear all the time, I think they appreciate hearing about it from time to time. And so I think you start there and then you build up and then you kind of gain that. And then that's where you build towards that. I know that I didn't have that at the beginning because it's I understand that. And I think Kyle even understood that, like coming in, you have to earn that into Nebraska. And so you start, and I have from the start with women's basketball with Amy Williams and that program. I mean, they took me in because they kind of needed somebody to promote their program a little bit more. And I kind of needed somebody to take me in at that first season. And so I'm forever grateful to them that they kind of gave me, hey, whatever you want to do, you do it, because we need a little bit more coverage and whatever you want to do. And that was the year they went on. I think it was like, they went like 15 in a row or 12 in a row or something at the beginning of that season. And it was Jazz Shelley's first season. They ended up going to the NCAA tournament. And so that year was really special with women's basketball. So I got in with them, and then that helped me earn a little bit. You just chip away. And then, as you kind of get your footing, I think a lot of times fans are fans of multiple sports. And if they like your coverage in one sport, then they're probably going to like your coverage in another and another and another. And then you just keep kind of earning your trust in that way. And I think that's where it's been really wasn't just here. I think I did it at Oklahoma as well.
Fascinating to listen to, because it just begs another question. So a lot of times kind of on your journey, you obviously have to have some self-belief, right? You got to be really confident in your own abilities, and that's kind of where it starts. But I talk about this a lot with players and coaches, where even high-level alphas and competitors need somebody to believe in them as well, right? I there's tons of examples where, Baker Mayfield right now, coincidentally, is having a public spat with Stefanski. Baker will tell you it started with the fact that Stefanski never really believed in what he was doing. It was tough from the jump, even as talented as Baker was. How important for you was it that somebody believed in you? You talked about basketball wanting to ride with you, Brandon wanting to ride with you. How important is that factor as balance and self-belief, but also having somebody that's got your back?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny about Baker Mayfield is that was a similar story back in college, that Texas Tech, it was similar. And then Bob Stoops said, hey, yeah, come on. And then they gave him an opportunity. And then that kind of fueled him. He's a guy that he's fueled by that. I mean, he will buy into that, and that will continue to kind of piss him off and drive him and fuel him. But that's kind of a similar story that he had in college, So it's kind of funny that it's like basically like a repeat chapter of his college journey. But yeah, I mean, it was, and Rhonda Revelle softball was the same way. I'd be remiss to not mention that program as well, that first year, because they were also a really good program that first year as well. That women's, we had that first year was incredible because we had like 4 women's Big Ten freshmen of the year. It was crazy. But yeah, it was important because I think I just, reflecting on that first year, and I took a big leap of faith, and I didn't really know, and I was learning and a new role and a new job. And I knew the teams, and I think that's where I am now, where once you're embedded in it And I think Kyle is starting to learn that now. And he's like, how kind of, I think sometimes like, how do you know so much about all these teams? But well, I've been here. And so I remember a lot of the things that carry over from last season from the wrestling team. I remember everything that happened when they won the national, or they were national runner up, that the player or the athletes that carried over from that. I remember a lot from the track team that, from 2 years ago that won the Big Ten title. And some of those things that, once you're embedded in it, you remember it. But I didn't have that Rolodex when I got here. And so I had to keep investing in and just kind of building into that. And I think because I spent a lot of time with those two programs, and I did come respected in the softball world because I had, I covered softball, obviously big time at Oklahoma. And
I played softball too at a high level.
I did not.
I don't know where I got that from, but I think it was just.
I think you're thinking of my cousin that picked you up when you were stranded going to the wrong stadium, who played catcher at Kansas. So
talking about when I first met you, Jess, but I appreciate you bringing that back.
Yeah. No problem. I had to get that in there. It's been too nice of a conversation, but yeah. I think I just, what?
Well, what? I do have a question though along those lines. So you're kind of you're going along doing the sports, and I notice this about you because I work with you all the time. Like, you're not a note taker. You'll jot down stuff, but like when we're rolling, like we're just rolling. Sometimes you won't get my keys I may delay, right, until you get them, but you never like read them. You don't do like scripted questions and stuff. So when you're talking about committing stuff to memory, how much of it is because you remember things it's because you can adjust to what's being said to you kind of on the fly all the time? Like, I just think it's easier to remember that way when it's personalized, kind of like how you like to do it.
Yeah, and I think
even my keys, like, you don't do exactly what I say. It's like you generalize what I'm trying to get to.
I improve them sometimes, Sometimes you need a little improvement. That's all. No, I think I do a pretty good job of listening, and so that kind of helps me retain. It helps me retain in those conversations. Like, I can go back to that, but if I do write things down, it will help me remember that for future references. So if I write it down, then I don't need to go back and look at it. I don't know. I remember it where I don't. If I've got a long interview or a long kind of segment that I need to make sure I hit on or whatever, I might like jot down just like one word so it makes sure that I need to get this in. But no, for the most part, I don't script anything out anymore. I mean, I used to when I was doing TV because it was so scripted and you had to hit timing. If I've got to hit times or, something, if there's sponsors, I do. But for the most part, I don't script things out. So I don't know. I just, if you give me your keys, I can usually repeat them in my head 3 times and then I can remember them and then I can go off that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
You agree that radio is significantly more difficult than TV, or you think TV is tougher than radio? I think radio is much tougher for me.
Yeah, I think, it is. It is, but it's also, you have more freedom, you are kind of tied to times, and especially with certain, you have to hit, I don't know, like in radio, and when we have Sports Nightly, we can, hey, you just take a break anywhere from 18 to 23 minutes, I don't know. And with TV, it's just very structured and you have to hit a graphic at this point. Cause if you have a rundown and you've got to get to, if you're doing a studio show and you've got to get to this at this point. And yeah, it is very scripted, but it is very like structured. And if you want to get off on a topic, which you find fascinating, you can't. You have to keep rolling into what's next. And whereas I think in radio, if you're having this fascinating conversation, you can keep going into that. And so I think where sometimes I get challenged. I want to, and I have enjoyed more with radio is you can dive into more of a conversation, and in TV and some of these where you are limited as to what you can do with that freedom, if that makes sense. But yes, it is harder. It is definitely harder. You have to know what you're talking about, but it also has its pluses for both.
Jess, you mentioned you've got kind of this line in the sand moment where you saw a sideline reporter on TV and that's what you decided you wanted to be and kind of followed through on that. How aware are you that other people might be now viewing you through the same lens that you viewed that sideline reporter when you were young?
You get that a lot.
I haven't. I guess I haven't thought of that.
All these people that want to shadow you and stuff like for the job, like that's crazy.
But they also want to shadow Kyle and John Baylor, and I think it's and Kemp Pavelka. I mean, I feel like it's more of the role of working for the Huskers radio network. Now, I am very aware that I do get the emails that I am so appreciative of that, there are some women that, hey, this wasn't available and I would have loved to have this kind of opportunity, which I'm very appreciative of. But I guess I don't really think about it as much. And because there are so many opportunities, and I think I look at it more like, I mean, Kyle gets those emails all the time, and we get that a lot where remember, David, do you not remember that we had that kid that had emailed? He emailed Greg, he emailed me, he emailed John Baylor, and he called me Jennifer. Yeah. And so it was in the middle of the broadcast. Josh was in on it, Greg was in on it. It was Greg's doing. Damon and I were not in on it. And so they had this in the middle of a commercial break where we're coming back from break, and Greg's like, all right. And he brought it back just like he would. Like he's about to go down to me to do my report right before when I'm watching all the injuries and all of that. Let's check in on the sidelines with Jennifer COODY. And Damon, I kind of thought at that point that Greg I was like, what's going on? So I went with it, and then we both were dying laughing. But that was it was that
yeah,
kind
I had that pause. I was like, wait a minute, who the heck is Jennifer?
And that kid, he emailed all of us.
It'd have been very un-Greg-like to do that.
He emailed all of us, but he called me, hi, Jennifer.
He's like, hey, man. Basically, he's like, I want your job. That's what he was really saying. He's like,
but he called me Jennifer.
All right. So we have Dr. Elza up next, and this was actually like Ravi was dying to get Dr. Elza. If you're going to give Ravi some advice to kind of accentuate Dr. Elza's strengths, where do you think he should start?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think she is one where she's so good at, even if she doesn't know, she knows how to get the answer, right? And so she knows how to divvy out and who to go to for the answers. And so I talked to her. I did a 45-minute conversation with her for our show that we cut down. And, but I was one of the questions that I talked to her about, she was instrumental in Luke Lindenmeyer pulling off his engagement on the field. And those painted shoes that they wore at Minnesota, she was the one that helped find the artist and get those executed, where they were tailored to each of the guys. So those kinds of things. And Coach Rhule he's a very big idea guy. And he a lot of times will go to her and how can we make this happen? And so she's the one that takes that on. And so it's just, it was pretty fascinating to hear her dive into that. So that'd be pretty cool. But just her journey, and I've talked to her about this before, but how she started off, and she was the first woman to lead, I want to say NIL, but it's what is it at Texas? They're basically they're now it's NIL is in my brain, but they're
High School Coaches Association.
Yes, they're High School Athletic Associate UIL. But she was the first woman to
I just wanted to see struggles. I was going to sit here and be speechless.
Yeah. but she is the first woman in charge of that. But she started off, she was an athlete, and then she was a coach, and she taps into that a lot, just like the coaching aspect of it. And I think when you talk to her on the sideline, like when I'm waiting to talk to Coach Rhule at halftime, I'm chatting with her because she helps pull him if he's like, on a mission to run out onto the field. Like she'll help me flag him down, and she's like talking shop, like about something that happened in the half or about some kind of stat. And so she knows ball, but then she's like kind of a rare breed of understanding leadership and the aspect of being in the leadership and the administration part. But then she also at the core of her is an athlete and a coach. And so somehow she balances both of that, which I think is a really neat kind of mesh. And so it's fun to talk to her about both.
That's Jessica COODY, Husker Radio Network. Jess, great stuff as always. We appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on. Bye, Shane. Bye, Rico.
Oh, Rico gets a goodbye?
Yeah, where'd Sonny go?
Why does...
She's napping. He gave me the hearts again.
Oh, that's... All right, buddy. See you soon.
Thanks, Jess.
Bye.
We have a meeting on Friday.
We will be right back with Dr. Susan Elza from University of Nebraska. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Just our chemistry and our connectivity.
Whether you've walked these halls or cheered on the team, this is our chance to make a difference. Every scholarship, every breakthrough, every dream, you've been a part of this story. On February 11th and 12th, we are writing the next chapter. For 24 hours, every gift, every amount, every one of us will show our Husker pride. This is how we glow big red. This is how we make history. Give today.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I think women, there's a role for every woman in any part of college football that they want to be in, honestly. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because I work for Matt Rhule and he really doesn't see you for what gender you are. He sees you for, what are you capable of doing?
He really does.
He does. It's amazing. Yeah. And, I hope all women, have those opportunities that want to get into football.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Dr. Susan Elza. Dr. Elza, how are we doing this morning?
You know what? I just couldn't wait to get on here. Y'all had Jess on there, one of my all-time favorite people. And y'all set the bar really high. So I hope I don't disappoint this morning.
She is a tough cookie. But one of the things that I really like, and you have a lot of these attributes. It's kind of rare to have somebody that can cast visions. You're either usually a visionary or you're super tactical. When you can cast visions but still have the wherewithal to be step by step, that's kind of those are rare to have those two things function at a high level, man. I think that's one of the things that both you guys share at a fairly high level.
Yeah, she's, I spent some time with her the other day. I heard y'all just play my sound bite there. Every time I hear that accent, it kind of freaks me out because nobody here talks that way. But I
like mom.
I asked her if I could interview her, and I really hadn't prepared for it much. But at the very end, I asked her some questions because, she's in a male-dominated field too, and has just accomplished so much. So, she's just good for the soul. And because she's just a reminder of what we all aspire to be, and that's just really good at our jobs, to be honest with you.
So, Dr. Elza, let me start here because you've got this title, Assistant Athletic Director for Football Administration. I look at that and I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what that means. Your job.
Oh, me either. Could you tell? Let's just talk about this.
But like, what is a day? And I'm sure they're all different, right? But like, what's a day in the life look like doing what you do for the university and the football program?
It's college football is just fast paced. I mean, the job that I was in previous to this was very fast paced. And, I think it's just about the structure of it, because the structure truly is, and the process that's in place is truly what is going to, put the program in position to be successful. And it's a very vast program with a lot of moving parts. I mean, you've got strength and conditioning and athletic medicine and video and technology and creative. And I mean, I could just go on and on and on. Y'all know it's just, to be the best, you have to have all these things in place. And what I try to do, because your head coach becomes your CEO in so many ways. And really what your head coach should be able to do the most is focus on the football. And but with the rev share and the NIL and all the things that have changed, just in the past few years, what I want to try to do for him so that we have success in this program is to take some of that stuff off of his plate. And he's a very hands-on head coach. He is not one that's going to step back and say, okay, you do it and don't even tell me what you're doing. That's just not how it works with him. So, and nor should it work that way, to be honest with you. But he is what I know that I need to do for him. And I think this is where it helps, that I did have a little bit of a coaching background. What I need to be able to do for him is to take all the things off his plate that, he wants done, and, make sure there's synergy there across our program. The culture is right. All the processes in place, which I can't speak enough to the leadership that we have in this program. I mean, some days I tell coach, you really don't need me, because everybody really functions at such a high level, but it's almost like an orchestra. And you're trying to just have this beautiful symphony along, from that orchestra, and you're pulling it together so that, again, so your head coach can focus on the football. And y'all have heard me say this 100 times, once a coach, always a coach, but the main thing is the players. And our goal is to help put them in position so they can have as much success as they, to check every box on every goal that they have. So that's what I do. And I don't even know if I really explained that very well, but it really truly is you're just trying to help pull everything and put everything in the right direction.
People ask me all the time why I have such an affinity for what you do. And I describe it, and it may be as clear as mud, but I say you're the fixer, right? When something,
coach might say I'm the problem causer, but so I like this. I like where we're headed with this.
This seems like I watch the intricacies of fixing travel or the bowl game or practice structure or things that are like real time that you don't really have the script for. And it's like, okay, we have to change gears in a hurry, and I need to make this happen. Like, I think that's kind of how I describe what you do. And I'm curious, given the background, whether it's the Texas high school football stuff, whether it's the former athlete, whether it's the coach, with the role you're in, you wear a ton of hats. Which of those former things has kind of shaped you the most in terms of the day-to-day of what we see all the time?
I think my values come from my time as a coach. And it's because you don't come out of college and you come out of college and you're probably putting yourself a little bit more first and everything, because you're about to bust open the world and you're going to change everything. And we all know that. We graduated and we're going to go out there and we're going to be, for me, I was going to be the best teacher and coach in the whole state of Texas, right? And I think, once you got around other head coaches and other athletic directors and principals and all the people that touch, the lives of students in public education, you realize that your purpose was way larger than yourself. It really truly stays with the kids. And so it's really easy to come in and understand, coaches, his dad was a public educator. His mom was a social worker. And so our values aligned. So you have to work for somebody that your values align. And so it made it really easy. And then I fell in love with coaching, when I actually coached. And then I fell in love with how other coaches coached. I probably learned more from other coaches than I did, that coached other sports, especially football. I mean, I way back when I worked for Todd Graham, and he really kind of broke the door open for me. And because he let me spend so much time in football and understanding how to manage a very large program. But what they do for kids on a daily basis and the pressure they have on them to increase their ability to play on the field and also develop their character and who they are as human beings. I mean, I don't know of anything more rewarding. So, all the hats I've worn, I think the coaching taught me that. And it just, that's what I always carry forward, probably in the front of my leadership is to put others first. And especially, when you're in these environments, to put the players first.
Dr. Elza, I do want to get to some National Girls and Women's in Sports Day stuff about kind of your journey. But before we do that, I have to ask, I know that there's been a ton of work done kind of in an infrastructure sense with Nebraska football since you and Coach Rhule got here. What was the biggest challenge for not just you specifically, but as the entire staff came in and you looked at the landscape of what you inherited and just looked at, okay, these are the things we want to change or accomplish. What was the thing that was the biggest challenge for you to change?
I think, I always hate to speak for other people, but, all of the leaders that have remained, whether they're a department leader or whether they're a coach on the field, the biggest shift and the largest challenge has been trying to change the culture. And it really more is the culture of belief. It was, you never want to throw shade at what was here previously. I mean, there's enough of that goes on. In my mind, because Nebraska is just under such a magnifying glass and all these comparisons and all these things. But, we really truly inherited a program that they didn't know how to win. And, you can look at this and say, okay, well, y'all, your roster's changed this much and you've had all this shifting and all these things, but it is still very hard to learn how to win. Now, doesn't mean you don't have great players, doesn't mean you don't have high character, doesn't mean you don't have a great process. But to get over that threshold to where you're in those tough moments and you're in those winning moments in the fourth quarter and trying to instill that belief of not going back to a place where maybe they panic or they recall something else, even if they weren't the players that were here previously. They know the history of this program because it's talked about so much. People almost expect you to fail more than they expect you to succeed. And to get them over that hump has probably been the hardest thing we've done. I look at this, this program, because it takes every one of us. I'll say that, a lot of people think, oh, it's just the coaches. No way. It is every staff member in this program that has an influence and an impact on us being able to succeed at the level that we want to, which is the CFP and a national championship. But it is just not as easy as, just snapping your fingers and doing all these right things. Our process is beautiful. Our leadership is immense. What's another word I want to use here? Our culture, is just, it is so it is a player-led team, and this team is so hungry to win. They were hungry to win all last season in every game that we lost. I mean, you didn't see a bunch of players giving up and throwing in the towel in tough games, especially those last couple of games. But you have to get over that hump, and it's not. I don't think it's a matter of if. We're gonna do it. We are going to do it. And we just have to continue to push, in all the different categories that affect a player here. We've got to continue to push and help them see that vision and bring it to reality, for this program.
Dr. Elza, I think one of the things that's fascinating, getting a chance to watch you guys work so close, is a lot of what you started with was kind of the self-inflicted stuff, the things that controlling the things that you guys felt as an organization were part of holding you guys back. How what's the word I'm looking for? How you have to have a certain amount of humility, right? To self-check and to be self-aware enough to get better in the things that you guys can control that you do differently. What's that process look like as you continue to try to get the infrastructure right?
I talked about this with Jess the other day. I just think everything that changes within this program. Now we started one way, that college football was one way and the NIL was coming in, and then it completely shifted, and Coach was really focused on being a developmental program, just like what he'd been at Temple, what he'd been at Baylor. And, you had the NIL piece, you had the portal, and then you realized that this rev share was going to be a reality, and you still had these things that you wanted to make sure stayed grounded in your program, which was the transformational piece. And so we shifted a lot, where we were, trying to bring in a lot of, younger players and develop them and maybe not live in the portal. That shifted for everybody, because we're not the only program that believes in the developmental base of creating championship and long-term, success. So I think with all that has shifted, I think we've stayed very true to our core and just adapted to every bit of it. I think one thing that has changed quite a bit, and you can just look at the landscape of college football this year, with the head coach turnover, if you will, that started way back, almost in September, maybe early October. And then there's just this domino effect of, change. And so what change has become, where you're always trying to get this stability, change has become the norm. And so how do you still succeed within change? And, this is another thing I had talked about the other day, and I talk about it openly because this is the number one question they ask, like, when we had top players like Dylan, and I love Dylan to death. We all love Dylan, go in the portal, when you had John Butler exit our program, and Terry Braden, and, Emmett decides to go pro, and all this stuff, we were right in the middle of bowl prep. And it was, everybody on the outside, because I love watching what everybody says, because it's like, that's pretty good. And then you're like, oh, wait, you're way off, and I really, truly, I watch all the shows. I try to make sure I'm keeping up with it, because we also have to keep the stability on the inside. But the one thing that, I kept hearing resoundingly was like the sky was falling on the outside, but it wasn't falling on the inside. We had great practices all year long. I never, I think the culture of our practices, the culture of our locker room, all of those things, it stays at a very high level. We have setbacks in games. That's where we have setbacks. We don't have setbacks in practice. We don't have setbacks, in the locker room, however you want to refer to it. But we do, in games, sometimes we fail to, everything that we were doing in practice to prep for the game sometimes doesn't show up. Got to figure that out, right? But the culture in our bowl practices, and the energy and the enthusiasm and all the things that after all that change was some of the best I've seen since we got here. And so, you're close, but you gotta, again, we don't have the stability of everything staying consistent, but guess what? Nobody else does either. So I think our next step has to be, obviously we're starting, spring ball way earlier this year, which I love that. I think, I think Coach was, him and Corey and Mitch Chilowinski they were very forward thinking on that, did all the research. I think it's good for us to get right into the football and, maybe change it up just a little bit, but to get into the spring, practices early, because we do have 24 new players on our roster, and get going. But making sure that every day there's this sense of urgency to create, this atmosphere that puts us in a position to be successful when we start fall camp in August 5th. So I think embracing change is in the instability, and turning it quickly to stability is the most important thing we can do.
Dr. Elza, you mentioned obviously some of the high profile departures, right? But as far as actual roster retention, Nebraska's kind of been on the higher end of of the just nationally, I think it was 83% of the roster this year. Only 2 full-time starters from the year departed in the transfer portal. Like, how is the culture that you've tried to instill led to more stability at Nebraska on the roster than there has been pretty much anywhere else in the country?
I think, number one, I think that's a credit to Coach Rhule and, all of our staff. And I think Pat Stewart, coming in as our GM and surrounding himself with, Logan Holgerson, our assistant GM. Obviously Keith Williams has been here. Y'all know how pronounced he is in our program. Jamar Mosey, another one that I think helps identify talent, but also maintain what we have. And then you just go across our program. Everybody has a role in the retention. So I think that's highly, where it may not have this written strategy to it. It's just, you give kids a place where they, players where they know that you're the same program every day. Your standards don't change. You can count on it. They have the support they need to flourish, not only as players, but as human beings. And, they love each other. I mean, the word that, we've been using quite a bit and we've used it for a long time, but Coach had a team meeting yesterday and he just emphasized the brotherhood. It's real. I mean, it really is. We're a huge family here. I like saying brotherhood and sisterhood because, we have several females in our program but we truly, these kids show up every day. They're not from here. They're from, I don't know what our current count is, but I know it was like 38 different states were represented here within this program, earlier in the season. I need to probably get that stat updated. And that means they're not in their home, and Nebraska has become their home. And I think we do a good job of supporting everything they need and teaching them, giving them the skill set to flourish on the field and flourish off the field. And that's why, I think that we were able to have that kind of retention. And y'all know that's going to help. We were a young team last year and they carried over and we added some just incredible young men to this roster. And I say that not just because I'm supposed to say that. I say that, I just was so impressed, when they flip over and, they've decided they're going to come here and they've, basically signed on the dotted line. They flip over to, I'm a part of that. Our ops staff is a part of that. Several other key members on our staff, player development, all that are a part of it. And these guys were spot on. Like they're coming here because they want to be here, number one. And number two, they're so buttoned up. They know this is their future and this is their future family. And it's been a really smooth transition, even though we've added 24 new players to our roster.
Let me ask you, Doc, because this is fascinating. It started with, Coach Rhule explaining and talking about how he wanted to tweak spring ball and get the football portion out earlier. And I remember a couple years ago I was asking him about the break and when spring break happens, and he had all this data and studies that you guys did on wanting 8 weeks of winter conditioning. And I say all that to say he's willing to adjust on the fly while trying to keep the core principles the same, which I think – I don't know what self-awareness is worth, but in terms of wins, but I know it gives you a chance if you're self-aware. So, now, having said that, when you're making incremental progress, 7-5, 7-5, back-to-back bowl games, and you'll hear Coach Rhule, he'll say, this is not good enough, though. This is not where we want to be. How hard is the balance knowing internally you're getting better in some key areas that weren't what they were before, but you still want to make it happen in the wins and loss column? Is that kind of is one mental, one physical? Is that the emotional? It's got to be an interesting tug of war.
I mean, I think everybody has that tug of war, whether you just, you're Indiana, you just came off the national championship and, their roster reset as well. And, every coach, I think all great coaches, see everything wrong in a program, but they don't, that's not how it's projected. Because I don't think you get to greatness unless you try to, meticulously take apart what is wrong. And even if it's not wrong, right? I don't know how to explain it. I always call this program sound a little colorful, but I think the great ones complain about a hair in a shit sandwich. That's what I think. Okay. That's about as country as it can get. And it's honestly, because, it's, so I guess what you're saying is, is it mental? Is it physical? Is it whatever? I think all of us would agree. Our players would agree before we do. Do we need to get, a little bit tougher and be able to sustain those 4 quarters and finish those games, win the battle up front? I mean, all the things that go with it, right? Yes. And I think that, the emphasis has to be on that mental toughness piece first, because winning is tough. It's, and you have these winning moments, and a lot of times they come in that 4th quarter. And, how you prepare for that, and we've had staff turnover, and we're going to be in a new defense next year, is, everybody lines up and gets on the same page and has the same standard. And coach says this all the time, and I believe this, I've had to believe this throughout my career, just because, when you're a woman in these places, you just don't have room for soft spots. You can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't go to these weak places. You all have to have this true level of grit and belief and all the things that go with that. And I think that's why it becomes, really important that we go ahead and turn to the football a little earlier. Corey's emphasis on our offseason right now is just toughness. He's trying to develop the strength. He's trying to develop the speed. But him and his staff are trying to also develop the toughness. And they're doing tough things. I mean, your son can probably speak to that right now.
Yeah, he's a miserable soul right now, which
it's tough.
Absolutely love, because I'm hands off with you guys.
But he's just like all of them. They're embracing the toughness because you have to. And then, we have to execute at a very high level. So, basically the precision of what we do, being able to play fast and execute at that level is that's what this spring football is for. And to prepare for that, and then, turn your attention to, okay, this wasn't quite right on offense. This wasn't quite right on defense. Get back in the classroom. And then use the rest of your time just to fine tune until you get to August fall camp.
Dr. Elza, yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you a little bit about your journey on how you got here. I mean, we know like the former athlete, former coach, the Texas high school stuff as well. But you mentioned an individual, Todd Graham, that you worked for back in the day. Is there, when you kind of look back on how you've gotten here, whether it's Coach Graham or somebody else, that you kind of look at a certain individual and say, man, they had a outsized influence on not just the position you have today, but the person you are today?
Yeah, I mean, golly, you got to start with your mom and dad. I mean, they believed that, they instilled in my sister and I just a belief that we could do anything, and they wouldn't let us, give in to hard things, and let other people be the outside influence on, what we thought we could become. And I think that really helped. I probably was way. I look at my high school pictures, and I'm gonna promise y'all, I was way overconfident at that point. And so I had some humbling moments, but your coaches, your teachers, your principals, your superintendents, and then, you flip over and you become a coach yourself. And I always mention Todd because, that was the point. Like in my first year of teaching and coaching, I had said it out loud. I said it to a principal, and I was like, I want to be the athletic director of the state of Texas. And I did. It wasn't encouragement that came back to me, and I was like, well, hang on. And so I knew that I had a lot to learn. When somebody looks across it, so you can't always capture everything that everybody says, and internalize it, but you also have to use it as a good measurement of, all right, I've got a ways to go, because obviously I don't have, the skill set that they think I could do this. And so when I went to work for Todd, this was way back when Todd was at Allen High School, I shared with him my goals, and he was like, well, you got to learn other things. But, as a head softball coach, you've got to learn other things besides this. So it's a long story. I'll keep it very short, but I told him I wanted to be an AD. I want to be the AD of the state. And just have influence and impact. And I wanted to learn as much as I could about the other sports. And he said, well, the first thing you've got to learn is football. And, I thought I knew football, and there wasn't a place for me to have an office. Softball was a new addition to sports, back in that time. And so he had me office in the football coach's office. And I watched film. I mean, y'all, I still have my cowboy remote right here. I mean, I love watching film. And
keep that. Don't put that on eBay.
And so I was able to learn, like, just in the sport of football, like how you manage such a large staff and how you manage, the number of the roster size that you have. And I was forever great. I charted plays, I did it all. And then I realized, it helped me to learn that for football. It also helped me to learn it for my ability to coach softball. And then I wanted to spread it over the rest of the sports. And so if Todd wouldn't have given me that one opportunity, we were a school that was up and coming, and we built unbelievable facilities there. Y'all know they're tremendous in Texas, and it just really vaulted my career. And it's funny. I just texted him the other day to check in on him, and I would not be sitting in this seat right here if he wouldn't have, number one, believed in me. He didn't. He's a lot like Coach Rhule in that they don't really care what your gender. They don't care. They're not looking at you that way. They want to know what you know and what you're capable of. And so that's what I always try to focus on, is how to get better and increase my knowledge, across sports. My absolute favorite thing to focus on is leadership, because I always think if you become better, then your ability to make others better, it multiplies. So that's kind of where it started. There's so many other people that I'm leaving out of that conversation, Ravi, but I just was in the right place at the right time, and it really, has allowed me to do a lot of things across a career of sports.
Fantastic.
There you go. That is Dr. Susan Elza, Assistant Athletic Director for Football Administration. I still don't totally know what your job is, but I think you're doing great. Really,
thank you.
Really appreciate the time and joining us this morning, and continued success as you go into spring.
Doc, can you send me one of those white puffy sleeveless vests? That's my style. But
and I kind of went with the dim lighting in here, which honestly, once I saw Jess on there, I was like, I got to dim this down. That girl looks too good. But I wanted y'all to actually, I'd love I'm on the east side of the stadium, and I was like, I really kind of want them to be able to see the background. But I went with the white puffer vest. I'll see what I can do for you, bro.
I don't, Jay's tough on me, so I need the hammer. Bring the heavy.
Well, guys, thank y'all. Thank you for this celebration of women, and I think our goal is somewhere in there that the leadership in women the women leadership in sports becomes the norm, and that's to me when the progress becomes where you don't just have to celebrate it. It's just they're in a role and nobody has to notice it. They're just a great leader. So we'll get there someday.
We're sharing the same semblances with the month of February, Doc. We're on the same page there.
There we go.
Be what it is. I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, thank y'all. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Doc.
That is Dr. Susan Elza. Great stuff there. Really appreciate her time.
Yeah, give me the other 11 months, Ravi.
I mean, I don't have them like in my pocket.
Whatever.
I don't carry them with me.
Yeah. How about this? I felt like, and this is no shade at the chat that clearly pick sides.
Yeah, there was a little divide there.
The difference between the infrastructure and how the building is ran and the people in the building seem to be stark contrast from
some of the results.
The football, which I actually can appreciate, because that lets me know we don't have our head buried in the sand, right? It has to.
Yeah. And I thought she did a very good job of pointing that out, of saying, hey, these are some of the things we had to fix on the back end before we could, or as we're trying to get the football right as well.
How about how she said the players would probably say before they did that, listen, competitive stamina, need to get tougher, the physicality. I am fascinated by this spring.
Can I just to say one thing here, and then I'll drop it, probably.
That means you won't.
Maybe.
What pissed you off now?
So I just really struggle with people who allow a very small sample size, regardless of how good or bad it is, influence how they think about something as a whole, right? So, for example, the last 3 games for Nebraska, horrifying, right? Nobody's going to say anything different. Give Dr. Elza or Coach Rhule some true serum, they'll tell the exact same thing. Last 3 games of the season were horrifying. People also got fired for that, right? So, obviously, no one was okay with how that went. But to take that 3-game sample size and say that, I mean, literally in the chat, it was talked about how that the program is not in a better place than it was even 5 years ago. We remember what 5 years ago was, right? At Nebraska,
yeah,
we were under previous administration, had not been to a bowl game, certainly had back-to-back seasons that finished over 500 in a decade now at this point, right? So that's what I
feel like you're yelling at me.
Sorry, I'm not trying to yell at you. That's what I really, really struggle with, right? Is the allowing small sample sizes. And again, and a lot of this is Jimmy. Jimmy says coaches leaving, players leaving. You're talking about one coach that left on their own volition, right? We're talking about Mike Eckler.
And even, yeah, sure.
Basically.
I won't even get it. Yeah.
Right? Like we're talking about one coach that we believe willingly left. Everybody else got fired because they weren't enough, right? They weren't doing enough. So, like, we're talking about coaches leaving. We're talking about one guy. When we're talking about players leaving, we're talking about, I asked the question to Dr. Elza, it's 2 full-time starters. That means 19 full-time or 20 full-time starters did not willingly choose to leave the program to go somewhere else. Yes, Emmett decided to go pro. Everybody told him that was the right move. Like, we talked to Amir Abdullah, who's like, yeah, I probably should have left early too. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about here? The program is clearly in a better place than it has been. I get that we want more wins. I get that we don't like how it has looked sometimes, and that's fair.
I just don't think you can associate with the lowest common denominator of thinking. It's just not healthy for you.
I understand that. I think there's too many of that narrative out there.
I don't know, man. I think the same 700 people talk to each other. That's a big number, but not relative.
Relative to what the rest. And maybe you're right. Maybe I pay too much attention to that group of it. But
I say it all. I mean, whether it's good or bad or what, people hear what they want to hear because it has to fit it has to go through the prism of what they already think. So if I think something's good and somebody gives me a stat, I can immediately say, well, yeah, base that on, or you only took this. But if I like the stat, I'm going to say, see, I'm right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, it just, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Let's take a quick break here. We will come back.
By the way, she did have a great view in her office there.
Yeah,
east side of the stadium.
A little bit of stadium back there. It was nice. Somebody mentioned in the chat it was a good view.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, not bad.
Not bad at all.
I know right where that is. I don't think I've ever. I run by I poke my head in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more my fault for being insecure.
Go in and say hi.
I would say, yeah, I say hi all the time.
Yeah,
I just doesn't seem like a place I would fraternize. She's always like, she doesn't sit still.
She seems busy.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Seems pretty busy. You got to keep working.
Even travels. They had no template for the bowl game. Travel.
Sure. Going into last year, in New York. Yeah. Well, he said Rhule said as much. He's like, yeah, we'd probably do a couple things different than we did in New York.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
You can see a distinct difference in and how they travel. Like they've changed just in the 3 years. It's been vastly streamlined.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be right back here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Whether you've walked these halls or cheered on the team, this is our chance to make a difference. Every scholarship, every breakthrough, every dream, you've been a part of this story. On February 11th and 12th, we are writing the next chapter. For 24 hours, every gift, every amount, every one of us will show our Husker pride. This is how we glow big red. This is how we make history. Give today.
it comes at a good time for us to get our guys that have been a little bit banged up, to get them right. We're actually going to come in and watch film tomorrow and get some shooting and skill work, and then we're going to take Tuesday off, and then they'll give us 3 days to prepare for Rutgers on Saturday. But this is a Rutgers team that's playing really good. They lose on the road last night by 3 to USC. They had the game against Michigan State. They had a 15-point lead in the second half. That's hard to do, obviously, against Michigan State. So this team's playing really well, and they're always tough and physical, especially in the rack. So we need to get right, get better, this week, have a good week of toughness in our practices. Tuesday's an important day for our guys to get in the tubs and get recovered and, have a really good 3 days heading into the weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, best 40 minutes, even, first big game of the year, just having, being able to beat, having BYU down, I don't know what we got that game to, 20 plus early. I mean, that was a heck of a 25-minute stretch, probably our best 25-minute stretch. But yeah, we've been searching for a full 40, and a relentlessness, a ruthlessness, and then just better quality. I think like we made shots today. It looks a lot different, when you're making shots, and we had guys making shots.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. DB,
what is up?
How you feeling about college hoops right now?
I feel good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You feel like you have a good sense?
Yep.
UConn kind of waxed a little bit last night.
Yeah, that was
aggressive.
That was BTA.
That was pretty aggressive. I don't know.
They actually may be better than I thought, even though I think the Big East is not good.
Big East, I think, is worse than I thought, and UConn is also better than I thought.
That's kind of the way I'm leaning.
Which is a sort of a weird sentiment, but I feel like UConn started to play really, really good basketball in the last month.
Yeah,
and
just their offensive versatility is a headache.
Yeah,
and they're gonna rebound. So when you can shoot it with good consistency and you can rebound, you're always in the hunt.
Because I'm not a big, you know me, I'm not a big solo ball guy. I just haven't been. But they haven't needed him to be what I thought they were going to need him to be.
Yeah.
And so that has made a big difference in the way I view this team, right? Like, obviously, Mullins has been really good. He was good again last night. Demery has been really good. He was good again.
I still can't believe his increase in efficiency.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't believe anybody's shooting
8 percentage points added to his 3-point shooting.
I think he's up to 10 now.
Is he at 47%?
He's at 40% from three.
He's at 45% this weekend.
Like 2 days ago, I know. He's at 47% now. That's crazy.
I know.
Like that's especially when you weren't awful. Like 37% is pretty solid, right? Like you see a lot of guys, especially from like freshman to sophomore year, they're shooting like 28%, they get to 38%. Like that is but to go from an already pretty good shooter to damn near 50% is insane.
Yeah, and it's weird too because when you look at how they match up against the other 11 teams you think can probably win titles, there's some similarities between like the top 4. Outside of, I think, Arizona's physicality, which can be matched by Iowa State. Even though Iowa State, if you don't watch them, I think you think this is 3 years ago Iowa State.
No, they can score. They can score. They're 6th in offensive efficiency. They where Arizona is 4th, so they're neck and neck. Like that's not significant.
So those are the two.
Yeah,
Duke and UConn are a lot alike, as are, in my opinion, are Arizona and
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what Michigan is.
I'll say who's the most like Michigan
of those 4.
Well, of anybody in the group, in the top group. So let's go to the 12 that we sort of think can win a national title.
Who's the most like Michigan?
Yeah.
Illinois.
That's what I was going to say.
Illinois.
The size, you've got some size and skill.
Yep. Illinois.
Sort of stylistically how they want to play. Yeah. I think.
Who just put Illinois at the top of the Big Ten?
We talked to him yesterday, didn't we? It was somebody, whoever we talked. We talked to him this week. Oh, it was Robin. It was Robin Washit. Yeah.
And he didn't.
No, immediate.
Probably a second, maybe.
Yeah.
Who's the best team in the Big Ten?
Illinois. And Michigan.
Yeah.
No, didn't even think twice about it. I do feel validated that everybody we've talked to has put Michigan State 5th.
Yeah.
Even though Purdue has sort of struggled more as of late.
You could make the case Michigan State may be kind of going the other way if you want the style to fit your eye.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's why I don't like them. Like their style is horrible for what I like in a basketball.
Some tricky ones what would you have made Michigan going to Minnesota tonight?
Ooh, that's probably a reasonably big number. I'd want it to be a reasonably big. I won't click on anything on KenPom here. 8.5.
It is 8.5. What about Iowa going to Washington? People like Iowa.
I like Iowa, but I'm a McCollum honk. I don't like Washington.
Washington's 12-10 still.
I like Steinbach. That's probably pretty close. That's a rough trip for Iowa.
They're middle of the country.
I'd say Iowa 1.5.
It's 2.5.
Yeah.
What about this one? This one you ought to lock up.
Okay.
Lock it up.
Lock it up. Lock it in.
Texas A&M, who I ask you about a lot. I just asked you about them Monday.
Yep.
Going to the famed other team I ask a lot about, Alabama.
Ooh, yeah.
2 teams I know extremely well.
I know them less well than you do. A&M's going to Alabama.
As you've got KenPom open, yes.
I've got it open, but I'm just looking at the rankings. I'm not looking at the schedule, so I'm not cheating.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I would say Alabama. Is Alabama favored here?
Mm-hmm. It's at home.
I'm going to say Alabama.
How close are they in KenPom?
6 spots.
Ooh.
21-27.
Yeah, lock it up.
So KenPom's going to have this as like a 1-point game.
Lock it up.
I'm going to guess it's higher than that if you're so aggressive about it. I'm going to say Alabama's like a 3.5-point favorite.
7.5.
Holy cow.
Lock up Bama.
Good Lord.
Lock it up.
I'm going to see what KenPom has.
That'll be 3 in a row.
That's a lot.
Lock it up.
So, okay, KenPom has it at 6. So that's okay. All right. So it's a little heavy from KenPom, but KenPom has that way higher than I thought it would be. I would think with the way they're that close in the rankings, I would thought that was 3 tops.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they are that close in the rankings.
That's,
when you said it, it caught me off guard.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's wow.
BYU in a sneaky one. I only bring up the teams that have held our interest.
Yeah.
BYU.
Which I kicked BYU out of the club, but still, they were in the conversation.
Okay, they're on the road in Norman.
Okay. Ooh, our guy Porter Moser's struggling a little bit out there. Where is Oklahoma in my KenPom here?
Oklahoma.
Ooh, they're 65, 11-11. And BYU's still 15. They're going to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, BYU obviously should be favored, but it feels like we're getting in trap zone here.
It's not a leading question.
I'm gonna say we said it was a tricky one. I'm gonna say less than I expect. BYU by 4.5.
7.
Ooh, okay.
Does that seem like a lot?
It seems a little heavy. I don't love how BYU's been playing as of late, but it's not like Oklahoma setting the world on fire. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I kind of like BYU now, but lock up Bama.
That's a
lay the 7.
Yeah, that number's for how close they are in the analytics. That number's big. That's crazy.
Lay the 7.
The hook.
Yes.
What the hook?
What gonna be?
What the hook gonna be?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I'm still going back to that conversation with
Dr. Elza.
Yeah.
Which part of it?
Well, she said I think the players would say first. And
oh yeah,
when she talked about the toughness and physicality.
Yeah. I mean, I think a big part of
when you start looking at fourth quarter, not collapses, but like second halves.
Yeah, struggles.
Yeah, like that's something I think it could be emotional too.
So that's the thing I think we don't give enough potential credence to, right?
When it's easy to quit.
Well, when we assume it's, hey, they struggle in November or they struggle in second halves, it must be a physical issue, right? I think we underestimate the part of the equation that is maybe it's a mental issue. And that's still whatever you think that is in terms of whose fault it is or whatever. I do think it is a very underrated part of the equation that when we're talking about fourth quarter collapses, we assume it's because you're tired or you don't have the physicality to do it, or you might just not have the will to do it, right? I mean, you guys, whether like anybody that played in the 90s talks about this all the time, the way you made people quit. There were people you played, I'm guessing, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm guessing there are teams you played that physically could have continued if they had the will to do it.
Yeah. Florida.
Florida's a great example. Florida's a great example. Do you think Miami? I know they were struggling a little bit more.
They quit. I think Miami just fatigued.
Ran out of gas.
Yeah,
I mean,
Florida quit.
You got the gas. You got the oxygen mask on the sidelines with Miami.
Yeah,
so
I think
that's why I wasn't sure about them.
I think they just gassed. Florida quit.
Yeah, and Florida's obviously they win the national title the next year. Very physically talented team.
I think OU in Norman quit.
Tapped out.
Yeah. When we scored 77 or whatever it was.
So that's the thing that I think we don't give enough credence to in this equation, is we assume, strength and conditioning or whatever, and maybe that's part of it. I do think strength and conditioning plays a really important part in developing the mental toughness.
Do you know the part we're missing, though, when we do like this one label blame thing?
Sure.
Is the individual autonomy within the workout.
Okay.
Right? So Campbell and Kristen and all these people can have things that they want to do, and it is ultimately their responsibility, right? But if I remember I would always joke with some of the guys in year like 1 or 2 where, they would like throw vitamins in the trash or, didn't want to do the caloric intake or, they, would try to leave to go meals, like things that we all would do, right?
Yeah.
Well, I did, like everybody, even in the famed era, people like did that, right?
Yeah.
So there's the individual accountability to do
what you're being told to do.
Yeah. And to make sure that that you're doing as much as you can do, because you can make it look.
Sure. You can listen, there's a lot of people that you can fool people.
So I think the individual accountability, which just boils down to, number 1, self-respect, but 2, just like the competitiveness.
Yeah.
Right. Which is why I like how they post everything.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to see what you ran or the top 4 groups or this, that, and it scrolls across the ribbon deal, or you do it by positions, like I'm all for that, because when you're still a little iffy on how it's going to be, you need constant reminders.
Yeah, you need assurances.
And not everybody's where other people are in terms of their program development, right? Because you hear almost everybody, with the exception of maybe Signetti, like I'm just trying to think of programs that won a lot where their coaches still told you in the areas where they weren't as good as people thought. Kirby Smart's very good at telling you.
Yeah.
Where they need. Ryan Day's pretty transparent.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's just interesting that even within the buildings of teams that have elite level talent, there's still things that those schools can't take for granted. Right?
Yeah. I think I do think it's interesting when you're talking about.
And maybe Signetti has those issues.
Yeah.
He just doesn't talk about them. He talks about, this is the standard. This is what happens when you get in the building.
Yeah.
It was easy for me to implement because my coaches were the same way. So there was no guesswork. My strength and conditioning guy had been with me. He knew what to. So he's one of the ones that, and maybe he just doesn't.
Yeah.
Poke holes in it like some other coaches do. Like you listen to him and like Kirby, they're like almost polar opposites, and they both have won at a high level. But the manner in which they motivate is different.
Yeah.
But I think it also depends on, and we don't even like to admit this, but I think it's in the type of player you're talking to.
So that's what I was gonna. That's where I wanted to go with this, because I sit here and we talk about these things and I go, I think one of the most critical things within this equation is being able to properly identify guys that can hear that once they're in the building, right? And that is, I think, probably the hardest part of the recruiting equation. You can see 40 times, you can see strength, you can see film, getting all of the information about how a guy is wired.
Yep.
Because again, small sample sizes, you can fake people. You can fool people, right? On a visit, you can tell people what you're about. It's hard to know what somebody's about until you're seeing them in the day-to-day, right? On a visit, you can pretend to be somebody for 48 hours,
yeah,
right? Like I think that's why Nebraska tries to get people on campus as much as possible, not just to sell them on Nebraska, but to get a better idea of who that person is, right? And so I think that's the hardest part about recruiting, especially recruiting in the transfer portal, which is why I think it's Signetti's superpower. Evaluation is his superpower.
So do you remember what Cuban said why he was very interested in giving money?
Oh, because he didn't. Yes, he said this because, this is the only thing I cared about that Signetti said after the national championship, or that was said by anybody after the national championship, was he didn't just say, hey, give me all the money for all the good players. He had an exact vision. And he knew certain guys are going to cost this, certain guys are going to cost this.
And what type of player he was looking for.
He knew exactly what he was looking for.
So whatever he's good at, part of it is in the talent eval, it's evaluating the temperaments that fit with how he wants to do things.
Yes.
Because I'm just telling you, not everybody's built for an hour 45 practice. You have to be, if in fact it's actually an hour 45.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be mature enough to know that you're going to get this amount of work done in this amount of time, and that's it. You can't be the type of person that says, I only have to do it for this amount of time.
Yes.
There's a clear difference.
You have to be the type of person that says,
and how you approach that mentally.
That's not running out the clock. You want to get as much done in that amount of time.
In that amount of time.
As opposed to, and there's also like, I've sort of felt this way about long practices. And yes, I think they can build some toughness and things like that. I think they have their place. I also think sometimes people view a long practice where they go, I don't have to get it right this time because I've got more chances.
Yeah, and you have to have the type of team that travels that you can say, we're going to get there as late as possible and get out of there as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of coaches say it. A lot of teams aren't built to know that it's the latter of what you said. We have a specific amount of time to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, to get the things we need to get done.
Not just to get through it.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, and shout out for being able to pinpoint it, because I think that's what everybody wants. And when you can be selective and you know exactly what you're looking for, like, that's pretty impressive.
So this goes back to the thing I was talking about earlier, because I think, technically speaking, everybody can be selective about that type of trait if you're willing to give up something else.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree, which is why I like the fact he said sometimes you have to be willing to say no.
Exactly, because this is the same thing I brought up with whether you're recruiting an NAI or Indiana sort of felt like the NAI in terms of recruiting of power conference football. Like, you were not getting first choices at Indiana. You are now, but 2 years ago, you weren't getting first choices at Indiana. So he had to decide.
IUP wasn't.
Yeah, IUP wasn't. James Madison, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Elon, like this is the first time in his life he's gotten first choice at things in terms of player selection. So he has at some point had to decide, this is the thing I will not do without. I'll figure out everything else.
So do you wonder what Saban didn't see where he didn't want to promote him within?
So
he famously tells the story. I didn't want to be a position coach. I was 47.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't want to be a 60-year-old position coach, is I think the line, right? So I have a theory here, and I basically have two theories. Either it's the worst miss of Saban's career, or he knew how good he was, because he was the recruiting coordinator too, not just and I think that's the key to this equation.
I talked about that, yeah.
Because I think Saban cared way more about him as the recruiting coordinator than he did as a position coach. So my thought is, if he promotes him to, say, defensive coordinator or whatever.
Well, he's coaching wide receiver.
Yeah, sorry, offensive coordinator, whatever, any coordinator's position outside of recruiting, and he goes, then that guy becomes a head coach really fast because all of his coordinators become head coaches really fast. My theory is he kept him as a position coach so we could keep him as long as possible.
Yeah, so one of the guys that writes for Peegs in Indiana, just to tell you how different guys are motivated. We make a lot of assumptions as fans. Well, it looks like this, so it must be this. Again, it's just one of those things where you just want the data to fit whatever it is you think. And one of the guys at Peegs was saying that part of the reason that Cignetti is the way he is because nobody would hire him.
Sure. It's part of the reason I am the way I am.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just found that fascinating.
Absolutely.
For it now becoming somebody in his mid-60s that everybody tries to emulate.
Yeah, there is no.
So where was everybody else going wrong?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win.
I can imagine
that comes from
nobody wanting to hire him.
Nobody wanting to hire him.
Like he's the biggest chip on the shoulder guy, and rightfully so. That chip is well earned. Yeah. Some people have a chip on their shoulder, and they're just like that, and that's whatever, right?
They're either, they could be hyper paranoid.
Yeah, but like that guy earned that chip on the shoulder. Yeah. Like nobody wanted to hire him. He had to go Division II to get the job that he wanted, even though he was working at Alabama, right? We've seen guys make bigger leaps for dumber reasons.
So I wonder if he could I wonder what he would do with like a 5-star quarterback.
So that's the question.
And I don't even know if it's not it's just a social experiment. Like he's winning but between Rourke and Mendoza, like,
they weren't highly touted coming out of high school.
It's just fascinating.
So
he knows exactly what he's looking for.
I'm guessing, this is a guess, I don't know. I'm guessing he's looking at guys that felt like nobody wanted them either.
I told you what Hoke said once, right? When he was at Michigan. He's more comfortable, Brady Hoke.
Oh, yeah.
A certain
type of guy.
Player.
Yeah. I use this analogy. It's the Dana Altman thing. Here. Dana Altman coached better at Creighton when he had worse players. I swear, go look at it. When he came back from Arkansas, he, for whatever reason, was able to get access to better players whether it's like the Kenny Lawsons or the Peon Stinnets or the Booker Wood Foxes or the Cavell Witters, he had access to better players, even some random ones that didn't stick around. Like there was like Isaac Miles, who ended up having a nice career at Murray State. There's a lot of guys he had access to that he never had access to before. And guess what? They weren't any better than they were when he was dealing with the guys that he had to go find, out and like playing 1A ball somewhere. Like he was really, really good at coaching a certain type of guy. I would argue still at Oregon, even though that type of guy has elevated a little bit, he's much better at dealing with a certain type of guy than he is others. And I think that's super common in sports. Like not everybody's equipped to deal with what comes with 5 stars, especially at positions like quarterback, where it's kind of a whole other thing. Like I think we can all agree a 5-star quarterback comes in with different things than like a 5-star corner, for instance. Like it's just different.
Yeah.
And so I don't think everybody even wants to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like it takes sort of a special skill set to deal with highly touted and hyper talented people.
I kind of agree with Josh here. He says managing egos is a thing. It absolutely is. He says, for instance, Arenas from USC wouldn't be a good fit under Fred.
Absolutely.
I think Ja'Cory Barney would drive Cignetti crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, everybody looks the same. They dress the same. It's just like and whatever it is, it works. I'm just saying, like, I think it's fascinating how when I hear Dr. Elza, what I hear is alluding to, you want the temperament amongst the team to fit the business approach of the infrastructure.
Yes.
That a lot of that is identifying the right personality types
to bring into the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I look at and I go, if you're dealing with kind of the situation Nebraska is dealing with, and I think this is the shift that was made in the offseason. I don't know. We won't know until the fall. Is at some point, because you're not going to bat 1,000 on bringing in the right personality types.
Now you're trying to hit 55% of
if you can get just
in the class.
If you can just get just over half, like you're
to your contributors.
I think at some point you just have to say the guys that are going to play are the guys that think the way I want them to, rather than the guys that look the way I wish they did. That's what I think is the difference when you're talking about not playing well in November or struggling in second halves or things like that. Like a lot of the things that we talk about with Nebraska football and what ails them, I think comes back to, are you willing to sit there and say, I'm playing the guys that think the way I need you to, and I will play the best version of that guy, but that's now my that's not now my non-negotiable, not a physical thing, not anything else. If you don't think right, then you're not even in the conversation.
People you think are built to be leave me alone kind of coaches.
Define leave me alone type coach for me.
Or
give an example.
Look at the personality styles of like a Jimmy Johnson and a Kurt Cignetti.
Okay.
They come across as kind of leave me alone.
Like, let me do my thing. Don't meddle. Let me do.
Yeah.
So I actually think more coaches are like that, like want to be left alone and to do their thing than maybe we think. I think the harder thing is to find a place that will leave you alone, which is why Cignetti at Indiana is a very special marriage.
Yeah.
Because Indiana will leave you alone. Now they won't anymore, but now it's whatever Cignetti wants, right? There was never this awkward time of, because that's the thing that
where Anthony Thompson and some of his guys would come back and say, "Hey, coach,
we got to do it this way."
We used to do it like this.
Like Antoine Randall is not walking in there and being like, "Hey, this is how we did it, Cignetti. Like, you need to incorporate some of this." That doesn't happen at Indiana. Like, nobody's doing that. So, who was the really good receiver? Hardy?
Yeah.
Like, Hardy's not coming back through the door. Was it James Hardy?
I think it was. I was going to say Franz, but that's Nebraska. No, it's Kevin? No, Illinois.
It's not super important. But like Hardy and Randall L. and those guys, like they're not walking through the door being like, "Hey, like you can do things however you want, but we also have to do this." That doesn't exist in Indiana. That exists a lot of other places, right? So I think most coaches would say, "Yeah, just leave me alone." I don't think most coaches are willing to go to a place that will actually leave you alone, because those places don't have all the nice things, right? Like, that's the difference. That's the trade-off. So what is your non-negotiable? Is your non-negotiable being left alone?
I think Ferentz has it.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think he did it at the start?
Through a couple of ADs.
Do you think he did it at the start?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he's coming off of Hayden Fry.
Yeah.
Like, that's tough. Usually the thing that you preceded is the problem, not the problem, but the variable in the situation, right? So, yeah, Kirk Ferentz has it now, but he also probably had to earn it.
I think Alvarez coached like that.
Sure, but what was Wisconsin when he took over?
I'm just
you know what I
to
mean?
get this. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Wisconsin was Indiana when Barry Alvarez took over.
Yeah.
Right? But look what.
Because the other one I was going to give you, although I listened to him, he came to the Metro Coaches Clinic, and he did it 2 years in a row.
Is Bill Snyder?
Fascinating. He talked about the one thing that and he wasn't comfortable doing it, and he didn't go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But he said one of the things that he had to do early on that Manhattan campus was to go to all the educational buildings and the teachers and say, hey, look, this is my vision.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some help and get you guys on board. It may seem like this on the surface, but this is what I want the outcome to be.
Yeah.
Like he said, he literally was knocking on the doors of the colleges.
Yeah.
To talk to their heads of departments.
Which makes sense when you know that he went about it the JUCO route pretty heavily. Like, you have to, a lot of times educationally, you have to get guys on board with that.
Yeah. Like, there wasn't, I mean, it was one of those clinics where you kind of left and it's like, I don't know how much of the football was useful.
Yeah.
But building an organization and kind of what it took was, I mean, I was like, huh.
But look at the places now where you can go and be left alone. They don't have any of the nice things. So you have to decide what the non-negotiables are.
Yeah.
Is your non-negotiable, hey, I need the facilities I can recruit to? I'm not saying that's wrong or right.
You know who's at a huge place where I think the conflict is at a very, very, very high level?
Where's that?
That he wants to be left alone?
Yeah.
But needs the nice things?
Where's that?
Lincoln Riley.
You know another one I would say?
What's that?
Dabo Sweeney.
I think they do they did kind of left him alone.
I think they did for a minute. I don't think they're leaving him alone anymore.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I think you're right about Lincoln Riley, though. He needs the bells and whistles.
And he ain't afraid to tell you he ain't getting it either.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Don't forget, call our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical. I've lost over 50 pounds with their GLP-1 medication. You know, I know it's still February, still a little cold out, but summer's right around the corner. You want to lose a little weight before then. Go over to nextgenmmc.com, and they can help you out just like they've helped me out. DB and I will be back tomorrow on Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.